Welcome back to another FPL deadline stream. I have activated the wildcard out of Double Gameweek 35 and I have made a few changes. It looks like Erling Haaland, well, he is back in training and he could be in contention to start against Nottingham Forest, and there are some key decisions to be made, and I don't have that much budget really to get the ideal wildcard team, and I probably should have held off from making some early moves like selling Saliba, because he could have been quite useful right now to double up on the Arsenal defence, and then I could have gone for maybe a better setup, but it's still quite decent, and the midfield and forward line still remains kind of unscathed, but the defensive line has taken a bit of a hit because of the limited budget I do have, in my opinion. But we'll get into your questions and comments as always. We're going to start off with a super chat. Thank you very much to Ray for sending it, and we're going to answer his question first. He says, on wildcard, do I keep Gusto on the bench and wait for him to get better, or switch him out for someone like Van Hecke? If Van Hecke is your only alternative solution, I'd probably just stick with Gusto. He's not going to play against Aston Villa. He's a doubt for the second game against Tottenham, but he could be useful in Gameweek 37, and that's a better double for Chelsea regardless. But maybe consider Maguire instead. If you can go to Maguire and you're happy with going for him, even if it means a double up in Man United defensively, then I'd probably sell Gusto and go to a Maguire. But if you don't have anyone else you can go to, and it's really just Van Hecke or anybody else, then that's where things get very tricky, Ray. So be sure to let me know, and I'll give you a definitive answer. But in my personal opinion, I'd sell him to Maguire. And if you have Maguire already, or you don't want to go for him, and it's Van Hecke, that's the final solution, that's where I'd just rather keep Gusto, in my opinion. Barry says, hi Dylan, hope you're well. My team is goalkeeper Raya, Dubravka, Gabriel, Branthwaite, Nuri, Richard, Zabani, Salah, Saka, Sarabia, Palmer, Diaz, Nunez, Haaland, Mateta. I only have bench boost left. Yeah, so double gameweek players are the priority for 35 and 37. And luckily for you, both teams that double this week will double in 37 as well. So looking at your squad, I think Nunez is a big weakness. Having a triple up in the Liverpool attack is just not going to work, I think. 1 is still good, maybe even 2, but I think 3 is overkill, especially given the fact that they've kind of surrendered the title already. I'd probably look to offload one of Diaz or Nunez, and considering your midfield setup, the ideal scenario would be to upgrade Diaz to Heung-min Son. If you can do that for free, I'd highly recommend it. If you need to make another move to make that possible, then maybe Nunez too, dare I say Jackson, could be another move to facilitate the Heung-min Son transfer. How should I navigate this week and following weeks? Pretty much as I just said a couple of seconds ago. So be sure to let me know what you think. But really the priority for you is to load up on Gameweek 35 and 37 doublers. Don't think about 38 too much right now, because that's where you'd want Arsenal and Liverpool assets, but they don't have doubles or great fixtures necessarily over the next few game weeks. Hi Dylan, if you had Alvarez, would you start him over Haaland? I think Alvarez is more likely to start on paper, but I've seen a lot of C fans in certain forums like Blue Moon, and they think that Haaland will start, especially after the news that Haaland is in training. Start Saka or Haaland? I'd go for Haaland in that scenario. I just think Tottenham away is still a very difficult fixture. It could be very open, but yeah, I think Haaland has the highest ceiling. Ray says, already have Maguire, can only afford Van Hecke. I'm in a similar situation to you, so I can understand your pain. I think in that scenario, you probably just keep Gusto, because with Van Hecke, do you see Brian keeping any clean sheets? Of course, football is unpredictable. It is possible, but I really don't think so. And apart from clean sheets, Van Hecke won't really offer you anything else. There's very limited goal threat there or assist potential. So if Van Hecke is the only player you can afford, really, I just don't think it's worth it. I'd rather keep Gusto in that scenario. Diaz or Garnacho? That's a good one. I'd go for Garnacho. I think the fixture definitely plays a big part. Matt's Collectible says Dallo, Varane and Martinez both back soon. Yeah, that's a good point. The thing is with Maguire, he is offering better value and he's in better form. The only reason I've gone for him though is budget. If I could afford Dallo, I'd just go for him. But I have to say Dallo has been in quite poor form recently. Welcome John, good to see you. Happy wildcard day. Dylan, second place, 102 points back in my mini league, all in on Gordon captain. I wish you the best there. He's got the best record in home matches, over 20 goal contributions, and he's facing the worst team in the league. So if he doesn't return now, I mean, you'd be very unlucky. Pickford at home versus Brentford to outscore double gameweek goalkeepers. I don't think so. I know he did really well in Gameweek 34, and I have to say I was very surprised. I was originally going to put him in my wildcard team as the backup goalkeeper to Raya, but after they lost 6-0 to Chelsea, that really put me off, and he's been incredible in the double game week. But I think Brentford will score here. They're in great form themselves, let's not forget. Good day, Dylan. Walker or Gavardio? It's a very tricky one. I'd probably give the edge to Walker. I think he'll start more games from now until the end of the season, but Gavardio is cheaper, and a lot of us will probably gravitate towards him or Edison in goal. Wildcard and free hit. Well, in terms of what do I prefer, it's ultimately team dependent. I think for this week, the wildcard is probably best in most scenarios. You could then save the free hit for Game Week 37 if you have no bench boost, or you could save it for Game Week 38, which could be a very nice differential. Thank you, John. As always, smash the like button to thank Dylan for his hard work on the channel. Thank you very much. Finished on 139 points, taking me towards the top of my mini league for £500. Now I'm nervous for the weekend. Oh, every weekend. Yeah, I can understand that. All the best. But you did really well this week, and just stay calm, composed, and you've got a good chance of winning it. Let's see if I've missed any other questions from channel members, so then we can catch up to the recent messages in the chat. I think we're all good there. So, thoughts on Walker? Not a big fan of Walker, but he got 2 assists. The first time he's ever done that in a Premier League game. Like any Man City defender, I think rotation is a problem, and that's why I've currently got Edison in goal. I think he's the best way to cover that Man City defense, but the problem with that is Edison is very expensive as well. Salah to Son, Eze to Foden, Diaz to Fernandes -8. Yeah, I think it is worth it. I'm not a big fan of -8 hits and stuff normally, but I have to say those transfers are great. Eze's a doubt for this week anyway. Salah could do very well against West Ham, but if that also facilitates the other moves and buying Foden and Fernandes, I'd just take the -8 hit. A doggy out for Ben White or Borro? I'm bench boosting in 37. Well, Arsenal have the better defence, but with those 2 doubles in 35 and 37, and I'd still say Spurs have some very good fixtures towards the very end of the season, I'd probably go for Borro, to be honest. I like White a lot, and if I could, I'd go for him. Don't get me wrong, but I'd go for Borro instead. Alfred says, I'm planning to have a midfield of Bruno, Foden, Palmer, Son and Gordon. My forwards are Isak, Jackson and Watkins. Whom to bench for Watkins? I don't want to miss Watkins this week. That's fair enough. There's a lot of benching headaches at the moment. I'm not going to lie, it's probably between Bruno Fernandes or Jackson. And I know he has a double game week, but those are the 2 players I think about benching. I'm also in a similar situation with Erling Haaland, who's currently first on my bench. K-Man Corner says wildcard team thoughts. Vicario, Maguire, Burn, Borro, KDB, Palmer, Foden, Bruno, Son, Isak, Jackson, bench Onana, White, Gabriel, Alvarez. I think that's a good team, to be honest. No Erling Haaland, but you've spread the funds very well, I have to say that. I'm unsure about Alvarez, especially once Haaland is able to start games, which could be as soon as Game Week 35. It's only a matter of time before I think Alvarez drops to the bench. I know he can play as an attacking midfielder or just behind Haaland, but I still think that could be one of the worst picks, so to speak. The double up in Man United defence isn't great, and I've spoken about this in my wildcard team videos and podcasts, but in isolation, Maguire is still a good option. Did I say double up in United defence? To be fair, yeah, you got Onana in goal and Maguire. It's not ideal, but in isolation, they are good picks in each position, so it's still good. And the midfield, of course, I really like. I think KDB is the best midfielder to buy if you sell Erling Haaland and spread the funds. So, yeah, overall, I really like it. You've got a triple up in the City attack, no City defenders, and that might be the way to go. They're scoring 4+ goals every single game, it seems. So yeah, it's a good team. I'm a bit skeptical about the double ups in Spurs and Man United defensively, and also Alvarez. I'm just not sure about that pick in particular. The rest looks very good. Do you think North London Derby, or how do you think North London Derby plays out tactically? Well, according to the comments by the likes of Ange Postecoglou and Heung-min Son, you would at least expect them to play the normal way. So they're going to be very attacking on the front foot, a bit like the Emirates game where Spurs caused Arsenal all sorts of problems. I still think they'll be a bit careful compared to other games. I think they'll drop their line a little bit deeper, because if they are just playing a high line constantly against Arsenal, they could be exposed on the counter-attack. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think both teams score, and it comes down to who takes their chance on the day. It's going to be very cagey as well, I think, towards the beginning. A lot of nerves, and then the goals will kind of open maybe just before half-time, and then going into the second half. I think that's where the game really can become a basketball match. But yeah, let's wait and see. It's going to be an interesting one. I think Ange Postecoglou got the better of Arteta in the first game, and now I think the managers are once again pivotal in how this game pans out. Dylan, I'm stuck between KDB or Gordon. Well, Gordon offers much better value, but Kevin De Bruyne is that explosive differential who could really boost you up the ranks, so I can understand that. I'd probably go for Gordon just for the safety of minutes and his impeccable home record. I know 3 of the last 5 games for Newcastle are away from home, but I still think Gordon can really deliver in the home matches, particularly in Game Week 37, where he could be a great bench boost option. Jackson or Højlund? Jackson just for the doubles. I think with Rasmus, he scored against Sheffield United, but apart from that, he's been quite underwhelming since his return from injury. And also with Jackson, he's slightly cheaper. Not by much, but it's still something else to consider. I'm going for Jackson, so that'll be my answer. Well, I talked about KDB in the wildcard video yesterday, and he's still a good option. You can go for him, of course, but I'm not entirely sure if he starts every single game from now until the end of the season. Should I sell Cunha for Jackson? If you can do it for free, then possibly, yeah. I wouldn't do it for a -4 hit. I think Cunha against Luton Town could be a great option, especially amongst single game week players. Share or burn? If money is no issue, I'd go for share, but I'm going for burn because my budget isn't great. Start Solanke or Eze? Solanke, and Eze is doubtful anyway, so I'd definitely go for Solanke. Share or burn? Don't know which one is better on the wildcard, just like I said a few seconds ago. Gordon captain. Amongst single game week players, I think he's one of the best players to captain because he's got the best home record of any player in the Premier League this season. Only 1 blank, over 20 goal contributions, facing the worst team in the league. So, yeah, and that's back-to-back home games now where he's got 3 attacking contributions. So, yeah, I really like Gordon. Start Dubravka or Petrovic for the double? Well, Dubravka has a better chance of a clean sheet, to be fair, but Petrovic can make saves and get bonus points potentially. I'd probably actually go for Dubravka. The only reason I haven't gone for him on the wildcard is because Nick Pope could be back very soon. But for those that aren't wildcarding and you've got Dubravka, I'd probably start him. Is Haaland a must-have? Not really. I don't think he's a must-have. Alternatives to Haaland, apart from Isak and Jackson, I covered this in my wildcard team video yesterday. So Watkins would be the prime target for sure. And for double gimmick 37 strikers, probably Rasmus Højlund. -4 from Garnacho to Gordon. It's tricky because Garnacho has got decent form and I think he could do really well this week. But you know what? I'm looking at it and I'd probably just take the -4 hit and go for Gordon. I think you could find better transfers elsewhere to make though. Cylindra puts an A, B, and I think a C scenario. Yeah, that's going to be quite... Okay, so Gusto Udogie and Luis Diaz de Borro share Chelsea defender and Gordon Gallagher Madueke for a -4. B, Gusto Udogie and Tony de Borro share Chelsea defender and Jackson for a -4, but need one of Cunha or Diaz. Oh, do you need to bench one of them? Okay, so looking at this, option C as well. Udogie and Bradley to... 2 of Newcastle Chelsea defenders and Borro for a -4. I'm kind of between A and C based on what you've said. And if I had to pick right now, I think I'd go for option A. But option C is also quite good. I mean, you've got to back your gut on that one because there's some very fine margins, some 50-50 calls there, and some luck is going to be involved. Dimon says, hi Dylan, love your content. Just wondering if Gusto to Pedro Borro, Mateta to Jackson, and Salah to Foden for a -4 hit is good. It is. I'd actually be quite, nervous or a bit uncomfortable selling Salah and Mateta as part of a -4 hit, but I think the transfers overall are worth it with the doubles in mind and the quality of fixtures. Is it essential to have 8-0 in the wildcard? Definitely not. I mean, you saw what he did in Double Gameweek 34. He was very underwhelming, actually, and buying him a few weeks ago for me was a mistake. He's a good option against Luton Town at home, but I think Luton's scoring that match, so you're kind of relying on attacking returns there. Hi Dylan, can I use my 2 free transfers to prep for next week, but then use my free hit once the transfers have been made? No, so once you use the free hit, it cancels any transfers you made beforehand. So, yeah, it's not going to work that way. You have much more money than me. Is it from making transfers before price rises? It's also building up team value and with players specifically. For example, if you've had Saliba all season, that allows you to still keep him on the wildcard for much cheaper than someone buying him fresh. And the mistake I made, I sold him a few days ago when I first made my wildcard team last Saturday. And I shouldn't have done that because Saliba actually could be quite useful to me now and double up on the Arsenal defence. And I think my team would be pretty much locked in. But now I'm a bit unnervy about some of my defensive picks. So yeah, it comes down to what you said, making transfers early in a way or being early with good picks that then get a lot of traction. And the other thing is also building up value specifically with certain players. I don't think Pedro Porro is necessarily so good, but to cover the Spurs defense, he's the best option. Vicario will be second with the saves potential, but Porro has the assist for it. He's got 9 assists, I think, for the season, or it's 8 assists, and he's got a lot of big chances created, some good underlying numbers for a defender, and he bumps forward all the time. So he's a bit of an exciting pick, so to speak, and he actually got an 11-point return for me a few weeks ago against Nottingham Forest, and I sold him just after that. So I sold him at the right time, but at the same time, I also lost a lot of value in him, and that's made this wildcard team a bit more tricky to navigate. Trenick says start 2, Gabriel, Reguilon, Neto, Flecken. Okay, so pick the goalkeepers and pick the defenders. That's quite a tricky one. I'd be tempted by Flecken and Reguilon this week. I think Arsenal will concede, but you never know. They have a good defence, so they can do it anywhere. But I think I'd actually just go all in on the Brentford one. Neto, Flecken, Saliba, Gabriel, Van de Ven, Van Dijk, Gusto, Palmer, Foden, Salah, Son, Gordon, Watkins, Isak, and Maniz. Recommendations for a -4? Want to use a nice bench boost in 37? Well, you've already got Watkins, and I know he doesn't have a double, and it's Liverpool at home in 37, but I'd probably just keep him at this point. If anything, I'd maybe look to upgrade Maniz, but yeah, Gusto is a big problem at the moment. We don't know when he's going to be back. There are certain players I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. So even Flecken, I'd go and say that. Van Dijk, Van de Ven. But with your squad, I have to say your midfield is really good, by the way. I think I'd sell Salah. You've already got Palmer and Son. I mean, Salah to Maddison could be a decent transfer, but I'm actually looking at Fernandes. Maybe not take a hit this week, but Salah to Fernandes in 36 for free looks really good, and that also opens up so much funds to then make other upgrades and focus on the 37 bench boost, which is your priority. The Doggy to Porro, Bradley to Dallo, and Salah to Foden for a -8. Yeah, I think I'd go for that. If you can hold off the Bradley Dallo transfer, I'd do that, and just take a -4 hit for Foden and Porro. Yeah, I think Porro will start. He's been in training for a few days now, same with Richarlison and most Spurs assets. So, yeah, I'd be very surprised if he didn't start. He might be rusty, but yeah, I think he will. Start Solanke or Watkins. I'd go for Watkins, but Solanke at home to Brighton is a good option. Dallo and Gabriel, or Maguire and Ben White. I'd say Dallo and Gabriel, but there's not much in it. It's literally 50-50 calls. Yeah, you can sell Salah now, but I still like him against West Ham. It's just for those that are bench boosting in 37, it makes so much sense to sell him and open up the funds. Dylan, start Vicario or Edison? I have Vicario in there now, but worry that Arsenal thumps him. Well, I think that game will be a cagey one, and it can go either way. Arsenal would be the slight favourites, but Tottenham are at home, and they're going to be desperate to end their title hopes. I agree. I look at Vicario, I don't see a clean sheet, but I do see a lot of saves. So 5-6 points is definitely possible for him, minimum, as a base score. And, you know, sometimes we get surprises like Pickford keeping a clean sheet against Liverpool at home. Edison will have the better chance of a clean sheet, but I think I'm just going to go for Vicario for the double. Because with Man City, I know they kept the clean sheet against Brighton, but they haven't been that solid defensively this season. Hall is back, says Badger. Yeah, that could be a problem for Burn owners, for example. As I mentioned a few times, though, with picks like Burn and Maguire, it's mainly down to budget. Sell Saka for Havertz? No. I think there are better transfers to make. I know Havertz is in better form throughout the calendar year, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't keep Rice as a differential. I'd sell him, especially if you can go to Gordon. I think that's a big upgrade. Went for Havertz and Munoz instead of Elise and White on free hit, resulted in a -15 point swing. Yeah, but I'm assuming you got a good score on the free hit anyway, but you can't get it all spot on. And either way, I think the free hit in 34 can be classed as a huge success in most cases. Morning, Dylan. Is this your final wildcard? No. I'll probably still give a lot of time to finalizing this squad. Yeah, I have to say, there are some players that I'm not really too happy with, especially the defensive line. And I'll probably talk about this, now. I might as well go into this now, but before I do, let's go for some different screens and then we can talk about some of my dilemmas and also 50-50 calls. So let's start off with the fixture ticker, and it gets shorter by the day. Only 4 game weeks left. Chelsea are top of the FDR with Spurs in second. Newcastle, Man City and Brighton complete the top 5. And those in the bottom 5 include West Ham, Bournemouth, Wolves, Aston Villa and Burnley, and even have Arsenal very low down in that list with a lack of doubles and 2 away fixtures against Tottenham and Manchester United. In terms of predicted points, it's updating now, but Palmer is top with 11.8. Son is second, just narrowly behind. Then we've got Jackson in third and Johnson in fourth. And to complete the top 10, Maddison, Salah, Petrovic, Vicario, Gallagher and Isak. A lot of them are in my wildcard team, but I have to say, Salah can still punish us. Don't get me mistaken. It's very rare for him to blank 4 or 5 times in a row, but he has been very underwhelming in recent weeks. And if we look at price changes, this might need a refresh, I'm not going to lie. I think that was from yesterday. So Pedro Porro, Petrovic, Maguire, Burn, Gvardiol, Johnson, Dalot, Højlund, White, Pickford, Walker, Bruno Fernandes, Schär, Gordon and Palmer all could go up in price tonight. And as for price falls, Salah, Saka, Haaland, Sarabia, Luis Diaz, Tony, Solanke, Kivior, Bowen, Doughty, Van Dijk, Emerson, Mengi, Ait-Nouri, Pascal Gross, Zabani, Bradley and Eze. A lot of price changes are set to happen over the next few days, particularly tonight. So that's going to be a very interesting one. And if we go to Drafthound, this is their new wildcard team. So kind of similar to what I talked about yesterday in the team selection or the updated wildcard team. In fact, it's actually the same. So Petrovic and Onana as their 2 goalkeepers, Porro, Van de Ven and Schär as the back 3, Palmer, Son, Foden, De Bruyne and Fernandes to complete the midfield with Jackson and Isak up front. On the bench, they have Onana, Højlund, White and Branthwaite as well. If we now look at the stats comparisons of the 2 best captaincy options on paper for Double Gameweek 35, Palmer does lead in a lot of these metrics. More big chances, also a better XG figure. Now, if you look at some stats like shots in the box or expected assists, even key passes, Son does lead those metrics narrowly, but 20 goals for Palmer in his breakout season, 10 assists in FPL. It's an incredible return, and with those fixtures as well, you'd probably give the edge to Palmer, although he just came back from an illness/injury. I think it was an illness in the end, but yeah, it's Cole Palmer FC right now, and he is a very template pick for the captaincy. So does that mean, should we go different with Heung-min Son? We saw how Salah did last week, and this season it has been a trend where the most popular captaincy option, the no-brainer pick, hasn't really been the best on most occasions. Now, to complete this kind of different screens and showing you some stats and stuff like that, let's actually look at 2 more things. The first is going to be FPL.Team and showing you a wildcard draft I had from before. Now, one of the main issues I have with this specifically is, of course, Gusto is going to miss out that Aston Villa game, and he's a doubt for the second one against Tottenham. You've also got a double up in Man United defensively with Dalot and Onana. But apart from that, I think this team is looking pretty solid. It does say that I'm over budget, but I believe I can afford this team even now. And finally, let's not forget the famous old FPL challenge where I did score 161 points. And this is my current setup. The challenge and stipulation this week is that every player in a London derby scores double the number of points. And that's why I've got a few Arsenal players in there. I've also got a lot of Tottenham and Chelsea and even Mateta away to Fulham. So yeah, that is my current setup in FPL Challenge. I'll probably change things a little bit in terms of bench order and stuff like that, but that's my current squad. And to be honest, I made it this morning. And yeah, I haven't had much time in general over the last day or so to think about my wildcard team, which is probably not a good thing, but maybe it does lead to no overthinking as well. So let's go back to my squad, and there's still some big decisions to be made. And it's mainly in the defensive line, if I'm being honest. I think my midfield and forward line is quite settled. I know Jackson's terrible, but he's got doubles, and I'm hoping they can get one of his only returns when I have him. But yeah, goalkeepers are decent. I think Petrovic is a slight risk with Robert Sanchez always knocking on the door. You look at my defensive line, Burn and Maguire. You could easily upgrade them to Schär and Dalot. You know, if funds were no issue. And, oh yeah, by the way, it says here I've got Van Heck. I don't think I've got Van Heck anymore, do I? I've got to refresh this. So let's refresh this page. I made these changes overnight, basically. So this is my team right now. So let me know what you think. I've currently got Petrovic and Raya as the two goalkeepers. I've got Dalot in there. and I've also got Gabriel. So a double up in the Arsenal defence. That's the only way I can really make that happen. But I've got Gvardiol, who for me, it's going to be a rotation risk, just like any Man City defender. So yeah, basically the defensive line is what's causing me a lot of issues at the moment. So if you have any suggestions, be sure to let me know. I'm also going to be giving you a lot of answers to your questions, as I've been doing for the past half an hour already. And we still have plenty of time until the deadline. But let me actually just do a little countdown. Let me just get this up and ready. I'm going to do the countdown to the deadline. Not second by second, by the way, don't worry. It will be a graphic on screen, as we tend to do in the deadline streams. So, there we go. Yeah, that should be good. Let's go back to your questions. And yeah, let's sort out these wildcard teams, and even those that don't have the wildcard. Havertz to Gordon or Kivior to Share? I have to bench Solanke, Haaland, or Eze for Gordon eventually. Thoughts? Well, with Eze, he has a slight doubt for this game week, so I wouldn't be that against benching him. And I think Gordon is an upgrade for the last few game weeks of the season. But I think Kivior to Share is the best move if you need that defender for this week. So it all depends on that lager. If you need a defender, go for Share. Okay, so yeah, a lot of questions have come in, and yeah, we're going to go for the latest ones now. Is a -12 or a -16 to set my team up for the rest of the season smart, or smarter not to do that? Ideally, I wouldn't take that many hits. I know what you're trying to do, kind of get rid of all your problems at once, but you can get further problems later down the line. Some of the players you bring in could get injured, or even some of the players you already had before. So I don't think a -12 or -16 is viable. -4, -8, fair enough. I mean, look, there's no kind of cut-off point. You take the hits what you think is necessary for your team to improve it, but I think a -16 is way too excessive. Foden to Saka for a -4. I'm guessing you're buying Foden. In that scenario, yes, I think it's worth it, but even then, you could reconsider and think, you know what, this could wait another week, but I'd buy Foden for a hit. Best goalkeeper combination on a wild card. If funds are no issue, I'd say Edison and either Raya or Onana. Pedro says, hey Dylan, would you prefer to downgrade Share to Burn or Dalla to Maguire? I'd personally rather downgrade Share to Burn, but there's not much in it. Hoyland to Jackson or Watkins -4? I'd probably have to say Watkins, you know. If you have a bench boost in 37, that could maybe lean you towards Jackson, but I'm going to say Watkins. In wildcard, should I take Van Heck or Branthwaite? I don't see either of them being great, but Van Heck has the double in 37. I'm still going to go for Branthwaite, though. Do you think Areola starts, mate? I'm unsure, to be quite honest with you. Burn -4 with Bodro, Gvardiol, and Gabriel. I'd rather take a hit for an attacker. So if you can go to Gordon for a -4 or Isak, I think that's where I'd go. I can't tell you, James. We honestly have no idea. We could get a leak before the deadline, but the game is tomorrow. So the chance of that happening are maybe unlikely. So I personally think Haaland will start, but we'll wait and see. Keep Aït-Nouri for this week. Yeah, I think Luton will score, but Aït-Nouri could get an attack in return. Start Maguire or Walker? I think I'd go for Walker. On the wild card, should I take Van Heck or Branthwaite? Sorry, I covered that. Eze for Elise? No. I'd go in a different direction, to be honest. And Elise is quite injury prone, just like Eze, unfortunately. Any Arsenal assets worth considering for the rest of the season? Of course. Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel. I'd go for 1 or 2 of those 4. And in the attack, you've got Havertz, Odegaard, and Saka. So I wouldn't triple up on Arsenal at this stage, but I think 1 or 2 Arsenal players is still viable. And if I had to pick, it would be the defenders. And it's also mainly because the alternatives from Man City, Chelsea, all these teams, Liverpool, Man United, Spurs, you can't really trust them defensively as much as Arsenal. But yeah, I'd probably go for those lot. And my favourites would be the defenders and goalkeeper. -4 Sol Gusta for Bodro. Already done a -8 though. Yeah, I can see what you mean. I'd probably still go for it, but yeah, it's not ideal. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I need someone for Gusto. Yeah, that's the big problem, I think. I was kind of settled on my defence with Gusto in it. He was the best way to cover that Chelsea defence. Very cheap, but that has made things a bit problematic. Nearly the same team as you, but I have Raya instead of Edison to get one extra Arsenal player in. Yeah, I've got Raya in. I've kind of swapped between the goalkeepers, Raya, Edison, and Nana. I've had all of them basically at some stage this week. Can't afford Gabriel and White, and I have Gvardiol in. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of any Man City defender, including Gvardiol. I think rotation will be a problem. I think Gvardiol starts against Forest, but I couldn't guarantee you that he starts both games in 37, which is the most important thing. In Gordon, Cher, Borro, Isak. Looks good. Start Petrovic or Onana. I'd go for Petrovic. I don't trust United defensively that much to go for Onana in a single game week. I think Burnley will score. Borro, Jackson, Gordon, Isak from -12. Depends who you sell, but I like the players you're bringing in, with the exception of Jackson, I'd say. But yeah, Borro, Gordon, and Isak look really good. I forgot to say it will be for a -4 hit, says Lager. Oh, so this is in relation to... to replace Gusto. Yeah, I get you. Why is everyone going in on Jackson? He is awful and Chelsea double is hard. Well, he scored 4 goals against Tottenham in the reverse fixture. I know a lot was down to the 9 men factor, but I still think Jackson can do really well in that particular game. I think he will blank against Villa and score against Tottenham. That's my prediction. And also the double in 37 is quite good, right? So, you know, I'll be honest, if I had the funds, I'd go to Watkins quite easily. Even with the doubles and all that, the lack of doubles in Villa's case, Watkins is a far superior option, but I don't have the funds to do that. So it would require selling Haaland or making another downgrade, and I'm quite happy with my squad overall. Hi Dylan, thoughts on Trent over 37 doublers for a bench boost? I'm currently thinking of Trent, Dallo, Cher, Gabriel and Borro, but no Haaland until 37, Trent to Van Heck and Mateta to Haaland. Yeah, the thing is with Trent, obviously he produced a good return in Game Week 34, but you don't really see clean sheets for Liverpool. They concede far too many chances. They've kept 1 clean sheet in 13 games across all competitions, and in 37 they play Aston Villa away. So I think there are better options there. Now, with Van Heck, I don't like him, to be quite honest with you. I'd rather go for Maguire or another budget defender like Dan Burn. So if you can go to one of those defenders instead, I think Trent to either Burn or Maguire, and then Mateta to Haaland could certainly be worth it. And actually, I'd be a bit more worried about selling Mateta right now. Hey Dylan, Vicario or Onana? I'd start Vicario. If you've got both of them, I'd start Vicario. But longer term, I have to say I do prefer Onana if possible. I know that might seem contradictory, but that's the way I see it. For this week, I'd start the doubler in Vicario. I think the saves could easily boost him to 4, 5, 6 points as a base score. With Onana, I don't trust him for a clean sheet. Yeah, I've covered that. Start Foden or Haaland on the wildcard team. I'd start Foden. Maddison or Johnson? Johnson is in better form, but I still back Maddison. I trust him a bit more as an FPL asset, so I'm going to go for Maddison. Gusto a good option, if only going to play in 37 for a wildcard. Yes, but there's no guarantee he's back for 36 still, or the second game of 35, and that could cause some concerns going into 37. LFC says, worst week in my life as a Liverpool fan and also as an FPL player. Liverpool out of the title race, bench Mateta and Branthwaite in my free hit team, 99 points, but could have been 144 if I didn't start Darwin and Van Dijk. Look, I have to say that is also down to some bad luck. With Mateta, I would have started him over Darwin, but Branthwaite, I mean, come on, him getting 20 points, scoring against Liverpool, you can't really foresee these things. So it is what it is, you know, it all comes down to variance, and FPL is also very luck-based sometimes. So I do feel for you there. As for Liverpool, look, there's still plenty of twists and turns left in the title race, but I can understand how you feel. I think that Palace game kind of killed you, and even going back to the Man United match, that was quite a big blow psychologically. Hilal says, hola Dylan, any news if Salah and Tony would start? Salah will start in my opinion. There's no news about it, but I wouldn't be too concerned about that. With Ivan Toney though, that I'm not really too sure about. He's been benched in the last couple of games. He wasn't in the squad in 34. I have no news on that, but my prediction will be Salah to start and Toney to not. Dylan, please list players using the free hit chip. Well, Borro, Son, Palmer and Jackson would form part of the Chelsea and Spurs double ups there for the double game weeks. I'd probably still go for Petrovic in goal. For the defence, I'd also go for Fabian Schär if possible. And yeah, for the third defender, that's where things get a bit tricky, to be quite honest with you. Not a big fan of most of the defenders there. But with midfielders, I think it's pretty much what you see on screen. I'd probably go for that midfield 5. Maybe a Kevin De Bruyne over Foden if you wish, or a Bruno Fernandes, but I'd go for Foden, Palmer, Bruno, Gordon and Son. And yeah, up front, I'd go for Isak, Jackson, and maybe even a Watkins or an Erling Haaland if he starts. That's kind of the base I'd go for, but the last defender is quite tricky. You might even go for a Gvardiol, for example. Is it necessary to cover the Spurs defense? Not really, but Borro has the attacking potential. You've also got Vicario for the saves, and 2 doubles in, 3 game weeks, so that's why you've got the Spurs defenders, pretty much. Dylan, who are your 3 choices for Player of the Year? Watkins, I think, has to be up there. I put Phil Foden in there, and there's so many players, you know. There are so many players. So for Liverpool, you've got Salah, you've got Van Dijk. I think they'll be lower down the pecking order now. They have faded in recent weeks, but yeah, I think there'd be 2 of them. From Man City, you have a lot of players. Rodri, I think, is always kind of a standout, an underrated player. He is Man City's best player, in my opinion. So I'd say Rodri and Foden for Man City. And there's probably more that I'm forgetting now. I think for Arsenal, there's a lot of players that go under the radar. So Gabriel, Saliba, Rice. I'd say Odegaard is having a fantastic season, but the goals and assists aren't really quite there. Compared to last season, he's been robbed of a lot of assists. I think Odegaard's really underrated. I still think Saka's having a great season, but I'd say Watkins, Foden, and I'd probably go for, I'd say either Rice or Rodri. It's completely up to you, but yeah, I think that's kind of my top 3 picks. I'm going to go for Rice. Branthwaite or Anderson? I'm not a big fan of either this week. I'm probably going to go for Branthwaite, but yeah, I'm not expecting a clean sheet for either team. Be sure to smash the like button if you haven't already, by the way, and also subscribe to the channel. It'd be massively appreciated. Let's see. So need a 4.1 million defender. It would be Van Heck, but I'm not going to lie to you. I just don't like him as an option. Start Haaland or Joao Pedro? Haaland. David says in Gordon, Son, Jackson / Isak. I'd go for Isak, by the way. Out Salah, McAllister, Mateta, Solanke, -4. If so, who should I choose for the 3rd option? Yeah, I take the -4 hit, and I would personally sell... I'd sell Mateta. I do back Solanke a little bit more this week, but very difficult to do that when Mateta scored back-to-back braces. I'm cooked, says Shavain. Maybe not. Petrovic or Vicario, says Priya. Petrovic. 128 points last week, all from your tips. Thumbs up, Dylan. Thank you. I appreciate that, but ultimately you have to make the decisions. I'm only giving you my opinions and some facts from time to time. All the stats and everything you need to know. Haaland playing, any news? We don't have any news apart from the fact that he's in training from yesterday, but no leaks whatsoever. Thank you, Wally, for moderating the chat. Massively appreciate as always. Salah to Son for -4. I'd do it. Foden or Gordon? Foden. Ignacio says, hola Dylan, crack, si no tienes wildcard, ¿qué 3 jugadores sí o sí introducirías en el 11? Es una buena pregunta. Bueno, Palmer y Son muy obvios, ¿no? Así que no voy a decirlos, pero para mí ellos forman parte de esa respuesta. Yo diría uno de Gordon o Isak. Quizás no los 2, pero uno de Gordon o Isak. Bruno Fernandes para mí es muy bueno para la jornada 37 y está jugando muy bien en este momento. Así que Bruno Fernandes, uno de Gordon o Isak y Heung-min Son, por ejemplo. Daily Dose says in Gordon, Share, Borro, Isak, out Salah, Simicast, Lascelles, Manice for a -8. Any suggestions? I like the players you're bringing in, to be quite honest with you. And you've gone from 0 Newcastle assets to 3 very quickly. Yeah, for a -8 hit, I don't really see anything wrong with it because apart from Salah, I don't think any of the others could really burn you. Maybe Manice a little bit, but I think that's fine. I wouldn't mind that, Shavain. But a lot of players will bench the Arsenal defenders this week, or Raya. Salah to Foden, I think it's worth it. I really do. I wouldn't do it for a -4 hit, but for free, definitely. Chase says, my front three are Solanke, Isak, and Chris Wood. Do I sell Solanke to Haaland? If Haaland doesn't start, Wood comes off the bench. Yeah, to be fair, I did forget about Cole Palmer. Yeah, he's another one, but I think I'm going to stick with my three. Watkins, Foden, and I'd go for Rice. So yeah, with Chase, it's a very tricky one, I'm not going to lie to you. I think I just start Solanke this week because there is a doubt about Haaland against Forest. He might be on the bench, for example. Petrovic and Gusto, or Onana and Van Heck. Interesting one. I'd go for Petrovic and Gusto, but I'm not a big fan of Gusto, obviously, because he's missing out against Villa, and with Van Heck, I just don't see clean sheets. Worth it to get Alvarez. How about Højlund? I'm not a big fan of Alvarez right now, and I think he'll be rotated in certain games. As for Højlund, I'd be a bit more keen on that, but the best way to cover United offensively is definitely Bruno Fernandes. If you can't fit Borro, is Van de Ven worth it? Potentially, but I'd rather go for Romero instead, I think, for bonus points potential. Share or Burn or Borro? I'd probably say Share from those three, but yeah, look, for this double game week, you probably go for Borro. It's a tricky one, I think, because you look at the quality of fixtures and they're pretty poor there for Spurs, but I'll go for Share. Morning, Dylan. Would you start Elise or Semenyo? That's a great question. I'd go for Elise. Is no Haaland viable? Definitely. You don't have to go for him, and I showed you a wildcard team yesterday, which has no Haaland, and it has De Bruyne instead. Thanks, Dylan. Good luck. Sold Haaland to Cunha, but noticed that Haaland back to 75% fit. We'll get Haaland back in 37. Yeah, thank you very much, LFC. Yeah, Haaland probably will start, in my opinion. It's not a guarantee, though. There is still an element of doubt, but he's definitely going to be primed and ready for Game Week 37. Chelsea's finish says, my team is Dubravka, Gabriel, Van Dijk, Reguilon, Son, Palmer, Foden, Gordon, Fernandes, Solanke, and Mateta. Yeah, very good team. Even Reguilon, who I'm not a big fan of, he's been in good form recently. Yeah, Van Dijk is the only one I look at and think, yeah, I'm not really sure if he gets anything, but you never know. The rest looks really good. For this week only, Gvardiol or Aït-Nouri? I'm going for Gvardiol, but bear in mind there is a rotation risk there. False FG says, hey Dylan, I'm in Wildcard. I've bought Onana and Gvardiol, thinking about replacing them with Edison and Maguire. Good in terms of team value and their starting time for Pep. Target is bench boost in 37. Yeah, look, Onana and Gvardiol is a good duo, and I especially like Onana. I'd actually argue is the best way to cover that Man United defence, but I think you're right. Edison and Maguire is slightly better. Just bear in mind that Lissandro and Varane could be back in 2 weeks' time, potentially, just for Game Week 37. Yeah, but I think I'd go for Edison and Maguire. Start Edison or Petrovic? Probably Petrovic. Just for the saves, I think the floor is higher. I wouldn't be surprised if Forest score against Man City. Yeah, that's a good shout, Wei-Sing. I was actually considering it myself. Cucurella's got a few assists, actually. I think 2 in the last 3 games. That is not a bad shout at all. And if you're not going for Petrovic, I think Cucurella is the next best option for the Chelsea defence. Double Newcastle defence or Border for 1? I'd say Border for 1. Let's not forget that Newcastle haven't been great defensively for most of this season. Morning, brother, ready for battle? Yes, same here. Although, if I'm being honest, I would like to iron out a few details in my wildcard squad. Why is Eze flagged? He's an injury doubt. He picked up a problem in Double Gameweek 34, and there's no guarantee he starts in this game. Yeah, I'll try to check the draft, Wei-Sing. It's just there's a lot of questions coming in and all that, but I'll try to do it now. It's just I haven't had time recently to be going on, or just anything really, even Twitter and Discord, but yeah, I'll try to be more active. I'd say from tomorrow because, yeah, I'm quite busy after this. Just wondering which channel you put it in. Might take a bit of a while to find. Maybe in the Rate My Team. Yeah. Yeah, I think Dunk is the kind of the one that stands out as an option I don't really like. You've got Gusto in there, but I'm guessing you're going up to Cucurella. Yeah, really it's just Dunk that I've got a problem with. Everything else looks fine, but because you've got Petrovic already, I just don't like that double up in Chelsea defensively. I think that's kind of the only 2 nitpicks I have. The midfield and forward line look great. You've got decent team value, it seems, by the look of things. But Yeah, I'm looking at double Chelsea defense. I'd probably reconsider that. I'd go for an Arsenal defender if possible, or Raya in goal, and I'd get rid of Dunk. I really would. But if you were to go for a Brian defender, I think Dunk is the best. Then you're looking at Van Heck. So yeah, that's kind of what I'd nitpick there. The rest looks really good. Hoyland versus Jackson. My gut says Hoyland will have a streak. If your gut says that, you've got to go for Hoyland, in my opinion. Look, if funds were no issue, and I know there's not a big difference between the two, but I'd actually consider going for Hoyland instead. I really don't want Jackson, if possible. I'd go for Hoyland in your case. I went for KDB. That's not really too bad, though. KDB is just a rotation risk from time to time, but if he starts, he's got such a high ceiling. Thoughts on Cucurella? I just covered that with Wei Seng's point there. Yeah, I think he's the best way to cover Chelsea defensively, besides the obvious Petrovic. Walk over Gvardiol? Yeah, potentially. It's just, if you look at my funds, for example, I've got 0.1 million in the bank, so my funds aren't great. That makes things a little bit more difficult when I'm kind of checking things out. Maybe if I do something like this, go for Maguire instead of Dalot. I could then do, well, I can't do Burn to Share because I'm 0.1 million off that, but I could do Gvardiol to Walker, but even then, I couldn't guarantee that Walker starts every game. The same goes for Gvardiol or any Man City defender. So, yeah, that's why Edison is so popular this week. Hoyland or Jackson? Yeah, I'm going to go for Hoyland. I'm personally going for Jackson just because of budget. Although, as I just showed you there, if I keep Gvardiol and I do Maguire in for Dalot, that does open up the possibility for me to buy Rasmus Hoyland as well. So it's something to think about. I've got a lot of 50-50 calls this week, and I'm just hoping that luck is on my side. Start Walker or Dalot? I'm probably going to go for Walker there. Start Gabriel or Branthwaite? Gabriel. Who do we pick in defense? I've covered this in all my wildcard videos this week. My team selection, where I've obviously discussed the wildcard. Well, you want to cover the kind of same teams, really. So Chelsea, go for one. Man United, Spurs, I'd say Arsenal still, despite the lack of doubles. I'd say Borro, one of Gabriel, White, or Saliba, maybe even both. Two of those three. I'd also say from Chelsea, if you had to pick one, it'd be Cucurella, but I'd rather go for Petrovic in goal. From Man United, Dalot or Maguire, and then you're looking at Share or Burn. So that's kind of what you were looking at. It's up to you, and also it depends on your budget. Would you start Solanke over Haaland? I'd start Haaland over Solanke, but for those that have Solanke and are looking to go to Haaland, I just keep Solanke for now, start him, and then maybe make the move next week. Haydel and Johnson over Gordon? Not for me. I think Gordon's a better option in general. Start Haaland or Joao Pedro? Haaland. Gordon or Foden? For this week, I'm going to go for Gordon. I've put your exact team, but I don't have the funds. What's up with that? Your squad value is less. It's as simple as that. My squad value isn't even that great, to be honest, and I'm struggling to get the exact 50-man squad I want because of it. But yeah, it's down to a few factors. So I've built up team value, and also certain players like Palmer. I've had them for such a long time, so they're very cheap for me. And another thing is kind of buying players early. Maybe some players that went on to do well or that became bandwagons in terms of, you know, price rises and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much why. Bench one, by the way, Mateta, Haaland or Elise? I'd bench Elise from those three. Forest going to humble City, Origi go? Well, it'd be good for the league, but I very much doubt that Forest will humble them. They did it last season and it wasn't enough. Iron says, Jose Sarr, Ruslev, Van Dijk, White, Gallagher, Odegaard, Bruno, Andreas Pereira, I'm guessing that is, Foden, Hoyland, Mateta, my FPL team. It is differential, and I do like that. In isolation, though, picks like Jose Sarr, Van Dijk, Ruslev, and Gallagher, I have to say I'm not a big fan of them at all. But the rest, I have to say, looks good. Is Borro really worth that much with these fixtures? Maybe not. Maybe not. But the reason why people are going for him, including myself, is the attacking potential. So even if Spurs concede, Borro can walk away with something. One assist could be enough to get 1 or 2 bonus points, and that gives you a healthy score. Best Spurs midfielder pick after Son. It's between Maddison and Johnson, and I'm going for Maddison because of the quality of player. He has been in poor form, but I'm backing him to end the season strongly. Wildcard, Dalot or Dunk? Dalot. Start Gusto or Van Heck? I'd start Gusto, but you're really just looking at the Tottenham game, if that. Vincent Rantek says free to start. Maguire, Burn, Borro, Branthwaite, Region. I'd go for Borro, Burn, and probably Maguire. I like my team a lot. I don't want to make it too template after the frustration from Salah over the weeks. Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, so your new team. Yeah, Van Heck is the only one I look at once again, and it goes down to the dunk point as well. Now, when you're ranking the Brighton defenders, or even assets, it'd probably be Dunk first, Van Heck second. And from a budget perspective, Van Heck does make more sense. Yeah, so I think what I do... Oh, you've got to trip up in the City attack, I see. Because I was going to say go for Gvardiol on the defense, and then maybe... Or even go to Edison in goal. But if you're really set on Foden, De Bruyne, and Haaland, that is fair enough. I'm just looking at your team and what you could do, because I'm in a similar situation. The defensive line is the big issue here. I'd actually consider Raya instead of Vicario. I really would. Or maybe Petrovic, and then you change Cucurella there. But your team is fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with it necessarily. I'm just kind of nitpicking. So Van Heck, I just don't like him. I had him at one point in one of my wildcard teams, and I didn't like it so much that I changed it immediately. But it's all down to personal preference at the end of the day. And I like the Maguire pick so long as he stays in the team. And that could be until the end of the season, or at least until 38, which is kind of what you need, really. So it's a good team. You know, there's not much really wrong with it. I just don't like Van Heck and the double up in Spurs defensively. But apart from that, looks really good. Havertz or Gordon? Gordon this week, no doubt about it. And also for the rest of the season. Would you sell Solanke for Jackson? If it's for free, then yes. But for a -4 hit, I just keep Solanke. What do you think about that team you have there? Would you consider it? Well, you're talking about the team on screen. Well, that is currently my squad. So this is how I've ordered it right now. Petrovic in goal with Raya as the backup goalkeeper for this week. Burn, Borro and Gvardiol as the back three. Son, Foden, Gordon, Palmer and Bruno Fernandes with Jackson and Isak up front. Haaland's on my bench, but if we get, you know, a confirmation of him starting, he could enter my starting 11 for a Bruno Fernandes or potentially Jackson, dare I say. Dallo and Gabriel complete the squad. It's good, but I think that the lack of funds does limit it a little bit, because what I'd like to do is this. Go for Edison in goal to cover that Man City defence and have no issues or worries about rotation. But then, look, this is the big issue. And if I kept Saliba, I could actually have this team right now, and I'd be quite set. I mean, it's not a big deal, is it? But I'm just worried about Gvardiol's rotation there, if I'm being quite frank. So, yeah, I'm 0.2 million off. I had Saliba all season, so I actually could have afforded this team if I didn't sell him on the wildcard a few days ago. But Arsenal have been so impressive recently that they actually are viable to double up on defensively for the last few game weeks of the season. So some big decisions to be made. 0.2 million left to afford this squad. If you've got any suggestions, I'm all ears, because yeah, this is not it's not been a fun ride making this wildcard team. Thankfully, I haven't been overthinking it, and I have been doing other things than just looking at my wildcard team all day. Otherwise, that'd be even more frustrating. But if you have any suggestions, be sure to let me know. I'm all ears. Smash the like button, and let's get this to over 100 likes. We've got over 200 people watching, so let's be sure to get the likes up to 100 to start off with, and then we'll push on towards 200 later on. So yeah, by the way, we've got just under an hour left, so be sure to lock in your teams as soon as possible. Don't leave decisions, especially wildcard ones, to the last minute. Trust me, it normally doesn't end well. No one went for Dylan Werner. I hate these comparisons, but there you go. Start Haaland or Mateta? I'm going for Haaland still. How many transfer hits do you think makes it worth getting in Jackson? I wouldn't take hits for Jackson, to be quite honest with you. I really wouldn't. Foden or KDB? Foden. Werner might outscore Mateta's 29 points this week. I very much doubt it. I very much do. I'm not going to lie. Morning, Dylan. Would you choose Petrovic plus Brennan Johnson or Edison and Garnacho? That's a good question. I'd probably go for Petrovic and Johnson, but they're good duos. They really are. How many -4s are too much with regards to getting double game weekers? I'd say a -8 for this double. Of course, if you're also looking at I mean, look, any doublers you get this week also help you in 37, so that also makes them more viable. Look, you can take a -12 in some cases, but I sometimes look at transfers and think they're unnecessary. You don't need to make that transfer. For example, Solanke to Haaland for a -4, or Solanke to Jackson for a -4, -8, whatever it may be. Anfield Insiders claim that Salah is benched. Unsure how credible they are. Yeah, I'll check them out. Thank you very much, DG. I appreciate it. But yeah, look, it wouldn't completely surprise me if Salah was benched. He hasn't been great since his return from injury, but I don't think he'll be benched, personally. I'll try find the website you're saying, or the Twitter page, but I can't see it. So Anfield Insight 9. Yeah, I tabbed them in. I can't find them on Twitter, but maybe I've done something wrong. Okay, I think I just found them here. Yeah, he says Kwanzaa starts. Salah doesn't start. Yeah, I'm not sure how reliable he is. Sometimes you can tell by the replies. But yeah, it seems like a lot of people are a bit unsure about that as well. So yeah, we'll wait and see. You never know. But I'm still a bit apprehensive, and I'm probably going to err on the side of caution and say no. Havertz or Bruno? Bruno. Haaland or Watkins for this week? Watkins. Foden or Fernandes says Righty9X. Foden. Share, Maguire and Branthwaite, or Burn, Dallo and Van Heck on a wild card. I'm going to go for Share, Maguire and Branthwaite, but both trios are good. Would you start Solanke over Salah? I'd still start Salah right now. I think he'll start, but he is in pretty poor form. We can't deny that. What do you think of Werner? Not a big fan whatsoever. I think he's very wasteful. And to be fair, people said this about Havertz, and he's become a good FPL option this season. But with Werner, he's done quite well for Tottenham, but I think the main quality he has is his pace, the positions he takes up. He's got very good attack positioning, but his finishing is very poor. I don't think they'll ever get good. And of course, he might even score in both games this week and make me look like a fool, but I just don't really trust him. And you could say that about Jackson, but I think Werner's even worse, actually, as a finisher, which might be debatable. Thoughts on Vicario? He's the second best way of covering Spurs defensively, behind Borro. The saves could be enough to give you a good return, so I'm not really against that. Get Cucurella for Saliba? Maybe, but I do have 3 Chelsea players already, so let me show you. So if I get Cucurella in for Saliba, yeah, I'd have to get rid of Petrovic or Jackson, which might not be a bad thing. So yeah, then I could go for Nana, but I don't want to double up on United defensively, so maybe I'll go for Raya. So I can go for Raya and Edison. That doesn't look too bad, to be fair. And I still have enough money, actually, I think, to get Højlund instead of the troll, Mr. Jackson. So yeah, that could be something else I could do. Like I said, there's so many very, very thin fine margins, 50-50 calls that can go either way. So yeah, very soon I'll be deliberating and overthinking these decisions myself. Worth doing Nunez to Isak, Saka to Son, Kivior to Share, and Havertz to Gordon for a -8. Yeah, I think so. I don't see any transfer going wrong, really. Famous last words. Haaland to Jackson? No, I don't think so. I'd keep Haaland. 40 points off the top, start 1, Haaland or Pedro. I'd still go for Haaland personally. I just think you outscore him. When are you bench boosting? In 37. I think it makes sense to bench boost in that game week, you know. Yeah, if you're wildcarding this week, you have to bench boost in 37 for me. I think Palmer will be the answer there. It's not going to be anything groundbreaking. And if there are some people going a bit different, it will be Heung-min Son. Hi Dylan, hope you're doing well. Who do you think are absolute must-haves this week, possibly even worth a -8? Son, Palmer, Isak, Gordon. At least one of those, I'd say. Bruno Fernandes, Foden. Those are the options I'd be looking at taking hits for. Start Eze or Darwin? I'd start Eze, but he is injured out. He might not even start the game or even be in the squad. Thank you, Tommy Brooks, for the super chat. Done my wildcard, mate. Decided to go with Watkins instead of Haaland. I have 8 million left, looking to add a low-cost defender to allow money to make 2 transfers in game week 37 for Haaland. It looks like a great plan, and I have to say Watkins is a great option. Even for the bench boost in 37, he could do well against Liverpool. He's done it before against them, so I really like that, and hopefully it goes well for you. Of course, with Erling Haaland, there's always a bit of a risk. But if I'm actually looking at my squad, the kind of main detriment to my funds is Erling Haaland. He's the one that's making everything very difficult to attain. So, yeah, it is kind of a double-edged sword. I can understand that. But very good plan. Hopefully it goes well for you. I'm just wondering which budget defenders you're buying to facilitate that Haaland transfer in 37. Maybe Burn and Maguire, but overall, looks very good. Worth bringing in Trent? Not for me. Look, if you are looking to go for a Liverpool defender, then yeah, Trent will be the best one. But I just don't expect them to keep many clean sheets, if any, for the rest of the season. So then you're relying entirely on attack and returns, which Trent can do, but I have to say his output has dipped a little bit this season. Sorry, I just missed the question. Start Darwin, Saka or White? I'd go for Saka this week. Captain Son or Palmer? I'm going for Palmer, but Son can't be underestimated. He got a brace against Arsenal in the reverse fixture, so that could definitely be a good pick. And then it's Chelsea away, but I'm actually backing Chelsea in that game against Tottenham. I think if there were to be a winner, if there was to be a winner, it would be Chelsea. Not by much, of course, but yeah, I think with Palmer, though, I don't know. I keep on doing this where I go for the template captaincy option and I'm disappointed every single week. But Palmer is someone that I do trust a lot and I think he'll get the job done. Foden or Gordon? For this week, I'd go for Gordon. I said this earlier. Captaincy choice, it's between Palmer and Son for me. I wouldn't go for Jackson. No matter what you do, this is my opinion, I wouldn't go for Jackson or Werner as a captain. Maddison could be a nice outside shot, or maybe Brennan Johnson, but I'm going to stick with Palmer or Son. Bit boring. Among single gaming options, I think Gordon or Isak would really appeal to me. Zenzone puts his final draft. So Petrovic, Bodro, Cher, Dallo, Palmer, Johnson, Son, Gordon, Foden, Watkins, Isak, bench, Anana, Haaland, White, Gusto. Anything you change? It's a very good squad. There's not much I change, if anything. Maybe, let's see. Bruno Fernandes in for Johnson for me. If you can make that work, I'd highly recommend it. I'd also maybe change Gusto. So you've got Dallo already. Okay, fair enough. Because I was going to say Maguire, maybe. Or even a Burn, but that wouldn't work. You'd have to change your Newcastle triple up or double up on United defensively, which isn't ideal. But yeah, I'd say Johnson to Fernandes would be my preference, but very good squad. Captain and Gordon, pray for me. Well, I wish you the best. I really do. Yeah, it looks like Salah is benched. The COP HQ have said it as well. Wow, that's, yeah. So it looks like that page was reliable for that piece of news, which is a good thing to see. Yeah, so Salah is benched. Wow, I mean, kind of a bad end to Salah's Premier League career if this is to be his last few games, you know, and as an FPL asset. But makes it very simple for people to sell him, use him as a cash cow to optimize that Gameweek 37 bench boost. I still thought he'd start, but you have to say he hasn't been playing well. It looks like it's going to be Gakpo, Darwin, and Diaz as the front three. On second thoughts, Darwin, maybe not, but yeah, Diaz and Gakpo will definitely start then, it looks like. Then, of course, with Jota, it's a shame he's missing out. Otherwise, he would have been a guaranteed starter as well. Manasseh for Gordon, Bruno, or Jackson? My favourite from those three is Gordon, but I do like Bruno a lot. Jackson will be at the lowest point out of those three. I have answered that question a few times, mate. I'd go for Haaland. Big Sam says Mateta or Solanke. This week I'd go for Solanke, but it's very, very close, and Mateta's been in great form. Start Branthwaite against Brentford or bench him and transfer a doggy out for a defender and start that defender like Cher. I'd bring in a defender like Cher and start him as long as it's for free. Salah to Foden from Manasseh. Yep, I'd do it. Start Haaland or Saka. I'd go for Haaland. Param says Mateta, Solanke or Haaland. Whom to start and who needs to be on the bench? So do I pick two? I'm going to assume that I pick two. The one I'd bench from those three is Mateta, but with his form, that's very risky. Dallo and Gabriel, Maguire and Ben White. As I mentioned to you earlier, mate, I'd probably go for Dallo and Gabriel. I'm not going to answer that again. Should I captain Isak? When Palmer scored 4, he was my captain until the last minute. Then last week, wanted to captain Eze, but captain Salah instead. Should I continue to trust my gut instead of the popular options? Definitely, always trust your gut. Unfortunately for me, I always back the kind of template pick to be the best option. So maybe Haaland away to Sheffield United and he misses a penalty, ends up scoring but gets 4 or 5 points, stuff like that. But I have to say, you always have to trust your gut whether it comes to transfers, captaincy, benching dilemmas. So that's always going to be the answer for me. Start Maguire or Havertz? Probably Maguire, actually. Buy Mo. Off to Saudi you go. Maybe. Of course, it's not set in stone, but it would be a very poor end to one of the best FPL assets of all time. Gabriel or White? I'd say Gabriel. Look, White has a bit more attacking potential right now, and you could argue the bonus points too. But if budget is very important to you and you need that extra 0.6 million, whatever it may be for you, I'd go for Gabriel. Bring in Bruno Fernandes or De Bruyne? Bruno for me. Rami says, own triple captain, bench boost and wildcard. Yeah, you're saving them until late. I'd wildcard this week. Of course, it's team dependent, but I'd wildcard in 35. I would bench boost in 37. And triple captaincy would be on a single game week player. Maybe in 38, which tends to be the highest scoring game week of the season. Some questions have been repeated. Be sure to rewind a few minutes and you'll see my answer to those questions. Raphael says, Salah to who? Have Palmer, Son, Garnacho, Foden. Bench boost 37. I'd say Gordon is a great option, and it opens up so much funds for you to buy Haaland up front. You can even go for Watkins, and you can make some big upgrades there. So Gordon would be a big shout for me, but you already have 2 budget midfielders there, actually, in Garnacho and Palmer. I'd say Bruno Fernandes, actually. I'd go for Bruno Fernandes. Should I still keep Salah as I'm free hitting in 37? I'd sell him if possible, nuclear atoms, to be honest. Sold Eze to Son and start Darwin. Bench Salah, it's good. I mean, the decision making is fine. I'm just not a big fan of Darwin. I think he's a sell. So if you can sell Darwin even to Jackson or Højlund, I'd do it. Kulusevski or Havertz? But this week I go for Kulusevski simply for the double, but I think Havertz is a better FPL option. Che says, luckily didn't triple captain Salah last week. When do you think is the best time to use it? Well, if you've got the bench boost as well, I'd use it in 37 and triple captain in 35 on Palmer or Son. So it all depends on that. If you don't have the bench boost and triple captain is all you have left, I'd actually be tempted to save it at 37, to be honest. I think the fixtures are better. Would you start Haaland over Foden, Isak, Gordon, KDB? Maybe over KDB, but not over the rest. Not this week. Is it worth downgrading Bruno to Garnacho for better defense? I think Bruno is a far better option right now. I can see what you're saying. It's a good shout, but based on current form, not for me. The Manta says, hello, -4, Salah, Tony out, Bruno Jackson in. Yeah. If Salah was starting, I'd probably say, you know what, hold off on that move. But because we know he's benched, I'd take the -4 hit. Thoughts on Gordon as captain? Among single gimmick players, Gordon is at the very top, I think. If not, top 3, top 5, easily. I've mentioned the reasons plenty of times in this stream, but yeah, I think it's a good captaincy option. I just prefer Son and Palmer for the doubles. Who to start? Munoz, Saka, White. I'd go for Saka. Yeah, Salah and Darwin benched. As I mentioned to Abdul, I think it was, or Ayub earlier. Yeah, Darwin for me is just a sell. Regardless, he has to be sold. Heidel and Petrovic or Onana or Vicario with Edison. So Petrovic or Onana or Vicario with Edison. I'd say Vicario with Edison is the best kind of way you can go. Is Walker nailed? I don't think so. I don't think any Man City defender starts every single game from now until the end of the season. And if there were to be one, it's so difficult to nail on the right one exactly. Will Haaland start? I believe so, but I can't guarantee you it either way. Super Blazer says Trovic, White, I'm guessing Petrovic, White, Cher, Branthwaite, Son, Gordon, Bruno, Palmer, Captain, Højlund, Isak, Jackson. Yeah, standard stuff, good team. I think Branthwaite is the weak link in your starting 11, but it's a good squad overall. Which one is more important, Salah to Bruno or Van Dijk to Cucurella or Borro, -8 or just -12? Salah to Bruno is more important in my opinion. Gordon over any of my current mids, Foden, KDB, Palmer, Son, Bruno. It would be for KDB, and that opens up a lot of funds, but I'd only make such a move on a wild card. If you have that team, you know, just stick with it. It's a very good midfield 5. If roll the transfer and bench boost in 37, we have 2 transfer gimmicks 38. Yeah, I can understand why you're asking that. So the only times where you can't roll transfers over when playing a chip is when you play the wildcard or the free hit. But if you play the triple captaincy or bench boost, it's fine. Dylan, is it worth selling Diaz to Gordon and a doggy Gusto to Diaz, the sassy Everton defender for a -4? Yes, but I'd just stick with Diaz to Gordon. I'd stick with the Chelsea or Spurs defenders you have right now. Look, if you were to go for a Chelsea defender, consider Cucurella. Not a big fan of the Sassy in general. Isak, Rasmus, Jackson start 2. Isak, and I'd go for Jackson for the double. Simple as that. Start Petrovic or Dubravka. Petrovic for the double. And look, I mentioned this earlier. Dubravka has a better chance of a clean sheet, but the double is always going to win for me. Or in most cases. Should I bring Branthwaite in on a wild card? Bench boost phase 7, and I've got 0.8 million in the bank. Any upgrade suggestions? Cucurella would be one of them, as mentioned by Weiseng and a few others. Maguire, Dan Burn. Those would be my preferences. Then it'd be Cucurella. So you've got a few options, not many, but there are some players. Hi, start Haaland or Garnacho? Haaland, and I'd go for Gabriel. Hi Dylan, who's on your bench? So what you're seeing here is kind of like a provisional, some changes here. So I've brought in Højlund for Jackson. That's not set in stone, of course. Cucurella's come in as well. And I've also changed, I think it's Edison's come back in, basically. And I sold Gvardiol. But this is my current squad. I've got Haaland on the bench. So there's some big decisions to be made with the captaincy, but most importantly, the benching dilemmas and also the final wildcard selections. The Dubravka or Raya bench. I'd bench Raya this week. KDB or Bruno? Bruno. Mutkala says Dallo or Maguire for the wild card. If funds are no issue, I'd go for Dallo. Need a 5th defender. I've got 5.8 million. Fabian Schär. Would you get Petrovic and Bukayo in a wild card? You can go for both. I'm not against that necessarily, but I think Edison, Raya, and Onana would be better picks. If you can go for one of them, that'd be my preference. Sell Salah or Havertz? I'd sell Salah. More expensive. He's benched, according to reliable sources. Bring in Foden or Bruno? Foden. I can't get Haaland for Gameweek phase 7. Is Alvarez fine instead of him? For now, but once Haaland's back, I do fear that Alvarez becomes a rotation risk and you might see some frustrating cameos, and one-pointers. Salah news reliable? Yeah, it is reliable, unfortunately. If you bench boost in 37, can you have 2 transfers in 38? Yeah, I've answered this. You can. And yeah, Salah to Fernandes for -12. I mean, it's not ideal, but I'd do it. Which attack are you benching? Erling Haaland right now. That might not stick. Would you do Garnacho to Fernandes for a -4? I think I would, It's not ideal, and you might have better transfers to make, but I think Fernandes is a massive upgrade on Garnacho right now. Which combo to do on the wildcard? Schär, Gabriel, Dallo, Van Heck, Porro, or Burn, Gabriel, White, Dallo, Pedro Porro. So basically Schär or Burn, Dallo or White, or is it White or Van Heck? I'm going to go for the second option. So Burn, Gabriel, White, Dallo, Porro. If I can't get Haaland, then who is the next forward you recommend? Watkins. Definitely Watkins all day long. Do I start Haaland or Foden? Foden for me. Would you do a -12 to sell Van Dijk to Cucurella or Porro? Yes, and I'd go to Porro. 2 doubles in 3 game weeks. Good fixtures at the very end of the season as well, so I probably do that. Is it worth Haaland to Jackson just for this game week? I think so, especially for free. Dallo and Edison or Onana and Walker? Dallo and Edison, but both duos are good. I have to say, in isolation, Onana is probably a better goalkeeper than Edison in FPL. But the fact that Edison is the safest way to cover the Man City defence and Dallo is still a good option, very nailed on, I think that's where I'd go. Which is the better move for my team? Darwin to Jackson or either Salah, Sarabia to Gordon? I'd say Salah to Gordon, especially if you're bench boosting in 37. That opens up the fund so much. Start Haaland or Pedro? Haaland. Need a 5th defender. I've got 5.8 million. I've covered. On wildcard, what do you think of no Haaland? Edison, Borro, White, Burns, Son, Bruno, Foden, Palmer, Gordon, Watkins, Isak. Very balanced team. I like the way you've spread the funds. I covered this in my wildcard video yesterday, so I do like it. Best time to use triple captaincy in Game Week 35 or 38? 35. I'm always going to back double game week, you know, triple captaincy options. So Palmer or Son looks pretty good. Share or burn? Share, if funds are no issue. Sebastian says, Sup Dylan, would you do a -4 for Manista Jackson or Saliba to share? Manista Jackson has the highest ceiling, dare I say, so I'd go for that. Who takes the doggy spot? Probably Davis or Emerson Real. And I think it'll be Davis, personally. They could even play Van der Ven as a left back as well. But I personally think it'll be Davis. I might be wrong. I think Tottenham fans will have a better understanding than I do. Will Wilson start over Isak this week? Not this week, I think, but it could happen at some stage. All those Mateta owners got so lucky. Foreman's season prior did not indicate that sort of return. I saw him at Brighton and he didn't get a kick. Well, yeah, but FPL does come down to a lot of luck sometimes, and it's not just Mateta, it's Ben White scoring a brace in, you know, in the London derby. No one expected that. There are a lot of things that went, you know, completely south. Even Branthwaite scoring against Liverpool, getting a 20-pointer, and Everton keeping a clean sheet. 2 clean sheets, in fact. So football is full of surprises. Man City defender or Edison? Definitely Edison for me. I just think all Man City defenders are rotation risks. Mauro says bench Gusto, Maguire, Haaland and Vicario for Petrovic, Gabriel, Borro, Cher, Foden, Palmer, Bruno, Gordon, Son, Mateta and Isak. Not enough courage to get Jackson for Haaland this week. Yeah, no, your bench is fine. It's just with Haaland, maybe you start him over, let's say, Bruno Fernandes. Possibly even... I'd actually start Haaland over Mateta. I think that's what I'd do in your situation, but it's completely up to you. Hi Dylan, would you go Fernandes and Gordon for Salah and Garnacho for a -4, says Tommy Raw? Yeah, I would. I would. The Garnacho to Fernandes transfer, maybe you could save that -4 hit for something else entirely, but I probably would, actually. How much pens do you think Chelsea win this game week? 1. I think they'll win 1 pen away, but who knows? Maybe you won't get another one for the rest of the season. Nuclear Atom says Darwin to Jackson and Sarabi to Gordon for a -12. Yeah, I'd do it. Isak or Watkins? I'm going for Isak simply for the doubles, but Wilson could be a big factor. I'm going to stick with Isak. Watkins would be just behind him, though, as the best forward in FPL. And of course, Haaland also plays a part there. I've got Watkins with a lot of value saved in him, but don't want to sell, but want to get Haaland on wildcard. Well, there's some big decisions to make, some tough ones, and you got to prioritize. Best defensive changes for Duncan Gabriel. I'm fine with Gabriel, to be fair. I'd stick with him if possible, but you can go for White, Saliba, Cher, Borro. There's quite a lot of options. For Lewis Dunk, maybe a bit trickier if you're looking at cheaper options, but Cucurella could be one, Maguire, Burn. So yeah, I just don't know who you have already, so it makes that question a bit difficult to answer. Thoughts on Tottenham defence? I doubt they keep a clean sheet, but I don't know if I want to bring in on a wild card as their doubles aren't great. Well, in Game Week 37, it is Man City at home, but they've got a good record against them, and it's also Burnley at home, and in the last game week of the season, you've got Sheffield United away. So the reason why people go for Vicario is for the saves, and you've also got Borro for the assist potential and the bonus points. So that's why he's so popular. As for Romero and Van der Ven, I'm not too interested. And, you know, if I wanted to kind of sort all my defensive issues, downgrading Borro to a Romero could actually be the cash cow to make that happen. But yeah, I'm only going for Borro for the attacking potential, and that's about it. I don't see many clean sheets. I think they keep one against Burnley, maybe against Sheffield United, but in the other games, probably not. Harvey Barnes says, what he's saying. Yeah, look, he's a good option, but he does get benched a lot, and I don't see him starting every single game. So with Newcastle attackers, it's Gordon and Isak for me. I've got Salah on the bench. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, look, this season has been a very strange one. And Salah, I know when he scored against Brentford, I think in Double Gameweek 25, actually, off the bench, I was like, oh, this guy's ruining my season again. When I bring him in, he's been awful. But yeah, look, stranger things have happened. Salah out, Gordon in. Your say on it? I think it's an upgrade, and you get a lot of money from it. That can help with the bench boost. Salah's bench this week, so I don't really see anything wrong with it for the foreseeable future anyway. Captain Isak or Bruno? I'd favour Isak out of those two. Hi Dylan, is a -12 ever viable? Yes, but I always kind of look at it and think, can you avoid a certain hit and maybe trim it down? Considering it this week to prepare for bench boost in 37 will be Tony, Salah, Diaz, Udogie to Isak, KDB, Son, Share. It's kind of like a mini wildcard, right, what you're doing. The transfers in are great. They really are. Now, with KDB, you could find yourself in a precarious situation where he is benched from time to time, but the explosive potential is certainly there. The other transfers are safe, secure. They'll start every game. So I'd personally do it. I'd take the -12 hit and go for the jugular. Start Haaland or Garnacho. It's going to be Haaland for me all day long. Golf Boy says Borro and Dunk or Romero and White. I'm going to go for Romero and White, but it's very close. Gameweek 35 or 37, when can I activate triple captain? In either game week, really. But if you've got the bench boost, you definitely use that in 37 for me, and you triple captain this week. If you don't have the bench boost or any other chip, I'll make a case for 37 actually. So it just depends on that. Pick one to bench. It'd be Mateta. It's between him, Solanke and Garnacho, and you know what? I think I'm going to bench Garnacho there. I'd start the rest. Would you back Bruno over Jackson? Yeah, I would. Saka, Havertz or Eze out for Gordon, Fernandes or Foden, KDB, 1 for 1. I'd sell Eze to Gordon. There's the injury doubt. I still like the Arsenal players in general, but I think what you could find yourself doing is Eze to Gordon this week and then Saka to Fernandes next week. Either way. But the thing is, you also don't have Foden. I'm not going to lie, if you could do Eze to Foden, that's probably the best move overall. I'm going to go for that, but I'm not sure if you have the funds to make that move. Hey Dylan, start free, Sarabia, Cunha, Havertz, Gabriel, Munoz. I'd go for Gabriel, Cunha, and probably Sarabia. Will Neto start? I'm unsure about that. It was a surprise, but for a few weeks there have been rumours about Neto being benched. It didn't happen until 34, which was a bit disappointing for those that owned Neto. Salah to Foden or Bruno? I would go to Foden. Van Heck or Van der Ven? I have Borro. Probably Van Heck. Son, Gordon, Isak. I can bring 2 of them only. I would go for Son and Gordon. If you had Watkins in your squad instead of Haaland, who would you sacrifice to start him? Or would you leave him on the bench? I would sacrifice either Bruno Fernandes or Jackson, actually. Livramento thoughts? Not really kind of there. With Newcastle, it's Share, Burn, or even Dubravka in goal. But the fact that Pope is back very soon puts me off Dubravka. Yeah, ideally you go for Fabian Schär from Newcastle defenders. Schär, Burn and Bruno, or Schär, Gvardiol and Gordon. I'm going to go for Schär, Burn and Bruno. Hey Dylan, who should I start, Haaland or Mateta? I'm going for Haaland. Want to remove Gordon, Schär, Isak? Probably Schär. Schär to Burn, KDB to Foden. Yeah, look, I prefer Foden over KDB. And I prefer Schär over Burn. But there's not much in the defenders. I just think Schär has more attacking potential and bonus points. Pickford or Ederson for this game week? Ederson. Is Johnson a good option? 0.1 million short to get Gordon on a wildcard. Other mids, Foden, Palmer, Bruno, Son. Yeah, look, he's decent. I mentioned it before. If you were to go for a third Spurs asset, it's either Maddison or Johnson for me. And Johnson has the form over Maddison, so I'm not against that. Do I prefer Gordon? Yes, but I think Johnson is still a good option, and he's got 2 doubles in 3 game weeks. Does he start all of the games? No, but he can still make an impact off the bench. Alvarez or Højlund? Højlund. Ahmed says start Haaland or Salah to De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes. I'd start Haaland. Remember, Salah is benched this week. It's confirmed by the COP HQ and other reliable sources. Oh, okay, sorry. No, you're saying start Haaland or do Salah to... I'd start Haaland. I really would. I'd start Haaland. If you were to take a hit, I'd go to Bruno Fernandes. And by the way, just for those that might be unclear, the kind of way I rank it is Foden first, Bruno second, De Bruyne third. So I do think those 2 options are better than De Bruyne. Who to start, Haaland or Diaz? Haaland. Top 4.9 million defenders in order. Can I even remember them? Gavardio, Maguire, Burn. I'm not saying in order yet. I'll do it after. So yeah, those three and maybe Cucurella for the doubles. There might be someone else I'm forgetting, to be fair, but I'm going for those four. So the way I'd rank it is Gavardio first, dare I say. In second, I go for Burn. Third, Maguire, and Cucurella fourth. I think that's the way I'd rank it. Maybe you switch things around a little bit at the top, but I'm going to go for that for now. Branthwaite or Region for bench boost in 37. That's some great questions are coming in, I'm not going to lie. But I think I'm going to go for Branthwaite there. Yeah, I'm going to go for Branthwaite. Everton defenders just look more appealing in Double Gameweek 37. Be sure to smash the like button if you haven't already. We are very close to 100 likes, and we're also pushing on towards 25k subscribers. Let's be sure to hit those milestones and making more progress. Should I start Gusto or Gavardio, Gabriel instead? I'd start Gavardio at the moment. Gusto might start against Tottenham, and I'm not really a big fan of that. Yeah, I'd start Gavardio. Much appreciated. Good luck this week. Thank you, Righty. Take a hit for Gordon in, Diaz out, or play Haaland instead. I just play Haaland in that case. Dylan, thoughts on Richarlison? He is back in training. He's another one to consider, of course, for the third Spurs asset. I think he will start, actually, in the North London derby, but I'm not so sure about him yet. I really am not. Maybe in Game Week 37, I'd be a bit warmer to the idea. Foden or Gordon? Overall, Foden is the better option, in my opinion. But for this week specifically, with the home record, Gordon's always going to be the one. So it all depends on the context of your question. I'm going to say Foden in general. So would it be worth a -8 Saka to Foden? Yeah, I think so. Colwell's getting back, so I don't think Cucurella is that nailed. No, not necessarily, but he could be useful for this double game week. And look, with Petrovic as well, he's not the safest pick regardless. Chelsea players in general are a bit of a myth. Salah, Manice, Bradley, and Eze to Foden, Isak, Dallo, and Gordon for a -12. Worth it? Yeah, I think so. Triple captain Son. You can also triple captain him in 37. In fact, I think that double suits him more, and I think the fixtures are better against Burnley and Man City. Yeah, but like, I don't mind that. You know, I really don't. You might be bench boosting in 37 regardless, so that's fair enough. I'm going for Palmer captain, but Son is definitely a good option. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, get locked in case of a site crash. It's definitely possible with so many wildcards being activated right now. Welcome, Beardy. Always a pleasure. Gavardio or Wait Nuri? Gavardio. Any other good 4.9 million defender? I can't get any of them. Well, you're kind of asking for a lot there. Van Heck would be another one, I guess. I mean, yeah. I definitely can't name you another four that are 4.9 million and below. Are you bench boosting in phase 7? Yes, I am. It's just that I trust Arsenal defensively more than any other team. But you're right. In 37, Man United away, do you expect a clean sheet? Maybe not. So I think for bench boosters, you don't need to go for a double up in Arsenal defensively. You are right to point that out. Most nailed Man City defender till the end of the season, apart from Edison. That's the problem. I don't think any of them can be relied upon. It's between Ruben Diaz, I think, Walker and Gavardio. And I have a funny feeling about Walker. I think he's the most likely to start every game, but I still think he'll be benched in one, just like any other Man City defender. Should I do Saka and Havertz to Foden and Bruno? Yeah, I really would. As good as Havertz has been recently, and Saka over the course of the season, very consistent, I just think it's worth it. Bridgerton, the only news we have at the moment is Salah and Darwin benched. And that's by the COP HQ, so you can verify it yourself. You know, it's always good to see it just in case, but yeah, Salah is benched. Start Haaland or Solanke? I already have Isak. I'd go for Haaland. Start Sarabi or Haaland. Once again, I'm going to stick with Haaland there. Start Dallo or an Arsenal defender? I'd go for Dallo. Door Office says, I have Gabriel, Byrne, Gavardio and Borro and have 4.8 million in the bank. Who should be my last defender? Maguire. You don't have to go for him, but the double in 37, good fixtures, decent form for Maguire too. I'd go for Maguire. No, Salah is benched. as I just mentioned. I don't have Son, think he is a must-have. I think so. 2 doubles in 3 game weeks. Great fixtures in 37 and 38. I think he is a must-have. Salah to KDB, yep. But I do prefer Foden, I have to be honest. Bench 1, Havertz, Haaland, Solanke or Saka. I'd bench Saka. It's between Saka or Havertz, and I'm benching Saka based on recent form. I think Havertz has that over him. Vicario or Petrovic? Petrovic. If I get Vicario, I need to downgrade Dalot to Maguire. I'm going for Petrovic. Raja says, hi Dylan, I got Dalot, Borro, Gabriel, Burn and 5.8 million. Who's the best other defender to get? Either Gavardio. I think Gavardio is probably what I'd go for. You're kind of just short of Saliba and Ben White, just like me. Yeah, I think I'm just going to say Gavardio there. Gavardio or Walker. It really depends on which Man City defender you have the most confidence in of starting every single game. But you might have 3 City players already with Edison in goal and Foden and De Bruyne or Haaland. Start Darwin or Sarabia. Sarabia. It looks like Darwin is benched. Sell Haaland to Watkins. I wouldn't sell Haaland to Watkins, no. On the wildcard, of course, you could make a case, but I'd keep Haaland. The way I'd rank forwards right now is Isak first, Haaland second, Watkins third. Borro or Burn? Borro. Hi, mate. I'm in a dilemma. Bench 1 of Haaland, Mateta, Luis Diaz or Isak. I bench Diaz. Eze to Gordon for a -8 and bench Haaland. I just start Haaland. Sell Salah for a hit. Already have Son. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes, Foden. There are plenty of options you can go to, that's for sure. Start Branthwaite or Saliba Gabriel. I'm going to go for an Arsenal defender here. Maybe Saliba. Recently he's been getting some bonus points. I don't think Gabriel's gotten one since that brace he scored against Crystal Palace, although he didn't have that brace count, unfortunately. Best midfielder below 6.8 million apart from Gordon or Palmer. Garnacho. Joe Hankin says, who do I bench out of Saka, Gordon, Mateta, Isak, Foden and Haaland? I think I answered this, didn't I? But I'd bench Saka. Might be similar to other questions I saw, to be fair. I really don't feel the Nicholas Jackson pick. Neither do I. But don't know who else to have. On wildcard right now, I have Isak, Haaland and Watkins. Maybe consider Højlund as well. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't really back Jackson that much. I don't trust him, but it is what it is. Start Walker or Dalot? I would start Walker. Hi Dylan, with Darwin benched, is it worth a hit for Jackson or play Garnacho 8-Nuri? I think a hit for Jackson is worth it in this context, but I'd probably start Garnacho. Mateta or Trossard? I would go for Mateta. Semenyo, Manice, Wood or Morris till the end of the season? Wow, if it was a few weeks ago, I definitely would have said Manice, but right now it's looking a bit bleak. I'm probably going to go for Manice still, but he has been quite underwhelming recently. Salah to Son or KDB? Son. Start Haaland or João Pedro? I already have Isak. I've had this question a lot. Haaland, mate. Haaland. Hi Dylan, Mateta or Solanke home? I said before that I prefer Solanke just about this week, based on the fixture. Edison and Van Heck or Anana and Walker? Anana and Walker, but very close. Sell Salah for a hit, already have Son? I said yeah. Isak or Gordon? Gordon. My midfield is Foden, Son, Gordon, Palmer. Who should be the fifth midfielder? I have 8.2 million. You're just shy of Bruno. Wow. Bruno would be my answer. You know, if you can find a way of getting that extra 0.2 million that you need, I'd go for Bruno Fernandes. Otherwise, you maybe go for a Maddison or Brennan Johnson and double up on the Spurs attack. Thinking of selling Tony for a -8, bring in Isak or Werner. Isak all day long for me. Thank you, Irish BVB. Good luck to you as well. Dalot or Gabriel? Dalot this week. Mohammed says, Bruno, Garnacho, both of them very good at home, actually. I wouldn't go for both. Bruno's my preference if I had to pick one. If Haaland's benched, then I'll have Manice coming on. So should I do Manice to Højlund for an additional -4? Already did Salah to Gordon and a doggy to share. If you're bench boosting in 37, then yeah, I take the -4 hit. Because you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You've got that cover for this week if needed, and you've also got the bench boost option in place. Twister Parky says Petrovic, Anana, Gabriel, Doggy, Gusto, Burner, Kanji, Son, Salah, Palmer, Foden, Saka, Manice, Haaland, Isak. Borro for a Doggy, Gordon for Salah, Saka, -4. What do you think and which one? So looking at your defense, you've got Gabriel, Gusto, Burn. Yeah, so I'd start Burn, Akanji, and potentially Gabriel at this point. I'd actually rather do Salah to Gordon. But yeah, because you've got Manice, you probably bench Manice this week. You've got him as your bench cover. I'd do Salah to Gordon for a -4. It's got the better upside. Pickford or Edison for this game week? Edison. Getting Gordon or De Bruyne or Bruno, Saka out this week. My favourite option from those three is Bruno right now, so I'm going to go for Bruno. Start Share or Porro? I'd go for the Spaniard. Porro. Eze to Gordon or Son? Son. Salah to Maddison or Bruno, -4. Bruno Fernandes for me. I know Maddison has the double, but I'm still going to go there. Do you reckon Ben White is locked for the season? He starts every game for Arsenal. I saw people ask me about, is he going to start both games in 34? He starts every game, trust me. He's been playing through injury as well for multiple months. He still is. So yeah, Ben White for me is definitely locked in. As for, if you're talking about as an FPL asset, well, you can go for Gabriel Saliba instead, or Raya. You don't have to go for Ben White. He's not going to get another 20-pointer. Pickford or Edison for this game week I've covered. A none or Edison till the end of the season. Edison. Hey Dylan, which is the most nailed Chelsea defender? I really couldn't tell you. I don't think there is one. In fact, Colwill is close to returning, so Cucurella might not be a factor for much longer. That's why Petrovic is the most appealing, although Robert Sanchez is another problem there as well. I honestly don't think there is one. That's the way I see it. Shea or Porro I've covered. I said Porro. Thank you, Coopsy Coop. Which two to prioritize this week between Gordon, Foden, and Bruno? Free hit and 37. Yeah, look, for this week, I'd probably prioritize Gordon and Bruno, actually. Yeah, but Foden's the best overall, and he's someone you want in place for 36 and 38. That's the thing. Not necessarily FG. The problem with Dubravka is that Nick Pope could be back by Game Week 37. It's very likely that he will be back, so once that happens, you could see Dubravka easily drop into the bench, and that would be a concern, especially if you're bench boosting. -8 to do Gusto to Share, or just start Saliba? I'd start Saliba. Thanks. So Salah to Gordon and a doggy to Porro -4. Oh yeah, doing both transfers is fine, definitely. If I had to pick one, it'd be Salah to Gordon, but I'd do both, definitely, for a -4 if you can. If money is not a problem, just get that up. Walker or Gvardiol? Probably Walker. It's kind of a gut feeling more than anything else, but I'm really not a big fan of any Man City defender. Start Branthwaite or Maguire? Maguire. Pedro, White, Gabriel, Zabani, Branthwaite. Best three? Pedro is definitely a very easy one. I'd probably go for Branthwaite, and I'd go for one Arsenal defender. Maybe White in this case. Yeah, Harry, I have answered that question before, mate, about the 5th defender for 5.8 million. Tomorrow has to be Pedro Porro. It's only a day away, plus he's got a double. Yeah, I'm hoping he does flop, but I think he's going to do well for the rest of the season. Why is no one talking about Ben Davis? It's just because there's not a guarantee that he starts. That's the main reason as well. You can have Van de Ven playing as a left back. You can also have Emerson Royal playing there. And Porro has so much attacking potential compared to any other Spurs defender, except maybe Romero, that it really is worth going for him instead, for the extra millions. Start Watkins or Jackson? Oh, Watkins. Look, if I had the funds, I'd be going for Watkins all day long. Mid same as yours, wanted to bring Johnson. Whom to transfer out? Is it too risky? I'd stick with this midfield 5. Yeah, I really wouldn't. If I had to pick one midfielder to sell, it's probably going to be Bruno, but I wouldn't do that. Dylan, KDB or Haaland this game week? This game week, I'm going to go for KDB. Are you sure Gvardiol starts every game? No, that's exactly the reason why I don't want him and why I'm not really a big fan of my defensive line. -8 to do Flecken, Neto to Petrovic. I'd probably do it just for the 2 doubles in 3 game weeks, and that's about it. Gabriel over Maguire. As an overall pick, yes, but for this game week, I'd start Maguire at home to Burnley. I think Arsenal concede. That's my personal opinion. Tempted to use some of last week's 167 points and do Salah to Bruno and not Son. It's up to you. I mean, Bruno's a great pick, but yeah, I think Son's a great option for both doubles. He scored a brace against Arsenal last time out, so it's up to you how you want to play it. Bruno or Gordon? I think Bruno overall. Like for this week, yeah, fair enough, Gordon looks better, but after Game Week 35, I think Bruno is probably a better option in every game week compared to Gordon. Thoughts on Alvarez? Not a big fan. I just don't see him being nailed on every single week. Is Cher playing or not? Of course he is. Salah to Foden, KDB or Bruno? I'm going for Foden. Cher or Burn? If money is no issue, I'd go for Cher. Try not to spam the chat, please. Is Son a good differential captain? It's not a massive differential, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, he is a good captain, definitely. Rahel says Salah and Darwin out for Bruno and Jackson, or Salah and Doggy out for Bruno and Borro. I would go for Salah and Doggy out for Bruno and Borro. All right, so I have answered a lot of questions. I think the last one I'm going to go for now is by Larkin, start 2. Okay, no, you retracted the comment, but I think I've still got it on screen. No, I don't. I wish I didn't burn the transfer in 33. Yeah, I can see what you mean there, Twister Parky, but look, you can't really look down in anger. No, I can't even quote the Oasis song properly. Start Hoyland, look back in anger. Start Hoyland or Foden? Foden for me. So, that is pretty much it for now. I will go back to your questions very soon, but it's time to lock in my wildcard team. Be sure to like the video. Let's get this stream to 200 likes. It'd be massively appreciated. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. Check out my Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, for all the latest FPL and use your fantasy updates. Join as a channel member or patron. It's patreon.com/DylanRCM. And also check out the other links like the FPL League, FPL Challenge, Drafthound, as well as Spotify and Amazon Music. Leave a 5-star review on those podcasts as well. And let me actually just check quickly if it's that time of the month where we can gift memberships. I don't think yet. I think we have to. It's probably going to be by the time we get to the next stream, maybe for the UCL Fantasy one on Tuesday. But yeah, it's time to lock things in because yeah, this is crucial. You know, getting things right on the wild card, bench boosting, just getting it absolutely spot on. Now, I'm not a big fan of this. I don't like Man United defensively, but for the double in Game Week 37, this could be the way I go. So Jackson comes in. Well, I just stick with him. Onana and Maguire as a defensive double up. Instead of Cucurella, we can go for, let's see, so 5.3 million left in the bank. It's just not looking great, is it? I'm not a big fan of some of this. Yeah, so Petrovic in for Onana. And do something like this, and then we have 5.7 million, as you can see, just short of getting that second Arsenal defender, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise. They still have some tough fixtures, particularly in Game Week 37 against Man United away. So yeah, let me know in the live chat. With 5.7 million, which defender would you go for? So I've currently got a triple up in Man City with Ederson, Foden and Haaland. Also with Chelsea, Petrovic, Palmer and Jackson. I've got a United slot available. I could go for Dallo, but going for him and Maguire does seem a bit weird and excessive, if I'm being completely honest. I can go for a Walker, Gvardiol or Ruben Dias, and instead of Ederson, I can go for Onana. That's another way I can tackle it, but yeah, as you can see, the limited funds I have isn't really ideal for this situation. So yeah, that's kind of where my head's at for the wild card. The last things to really sort out. Adil says Dallo probably, yeah. Region, good shouts there. Another one will be Branthwaite or an Everton defender. They do have Sheffield United at home in 37, so that could be another one. Ben Davis over share this week. Yeah, it's just I couldn't guarantee you 100% that Davis starts both games. I think he will be the main starting left-back now in a doggy's absence, but you could have Van der Ven playing left-back, you can have Emerson Royal, so it's not a guarantee. Triple captain Palmer, yeah, it's fine, but you also have Heung-min Son. You also have the likes of Son, Haaland, Palmer in 37. So you have plenty of options, but it all depends on your remaining chips as well. Romero says Manish. Yeah, I mean, look, I've got a Spurs slot available. I do. Yeah, I also think Spurs will score versus Arsenal. It's just with the Arsenal defenders, it's for Game Week 36 and 38. I'm bench boosting in 37, so I'm not that fussed about having two Arsenal defenders. I think one's enough. Of course, if they keep a clean sheet at Old Trafford, I'd probably think differently. But yeah, I also think Arsenal keep 1 or 2 clean sheets until the end of the season, so you don't need that defensive double up. Maybe Branthwaite, they have Luton and Sheffield back to back. Yeah, that's a great shout, to be fair. Region says, yeah, I'm probably going to have to put a poll for this, to be honest. I think this is kind of where my head's at. I don't want to overcomplicate things and say, oh, should I do A, B, or C, or D? No, it's not worth doing that at this stage of the game week with less than 8 minutes left right now. So, yeah, I'm going to put a poll out very quickly, see what you lot think. Obviously, thank you to those that do vote, and that also let me know your thoughts on all the videos and live streams. I'll go back to your questions very shortly. That'll be the aim. I have gone through hundreds already in this live stream, and now it's time to lock in this wildcard team. So which 5th defender would you go for? Which 5th defender would you go for? Who costs less than 5? Who costs 5.7 million or under? Maybe not the best phrased, but you know, we are in a bit of a rush, aren't we? So let's put the names in. Dallo, Region, Dallo, Share. Yeah, all these people. Dallo, Region. I think Branthwaite is a good shout, I have to say. Or any Everton defender. I'm trying to think what other option I could put in here. As a 4th defender, a 5th defender. 5.7 million and under. Just to have another name in the hat and see what else we can bring. And it could also help some people watching, of course. You know, with Walker, for example, I mean, I could include his name in, but of course that would require a move elsewhere. So maybe Edison out for Onana. I might actually do that instead. I'm going to put a Man City defender as part of the poll. I'm just going to put Man City defender. So Gvardiol / Walker / Diaz. Yeah, I think that's kind of where you go. I think, yeah. All right, so let's see what you lot vote. Be sure to smash the like button. As I said, let's get this to 200. And let's go through the super chat that just came in right now, I believe. Yeah, by Bada LFC. Should I have sold Neto or Areola for a -4? I'm on bench boost 37. Yeah, if you're on the bench boost, it's every position is important, even the goalkeepers. And if I had to pick between those two, it's probably Areola because of the injury doubt. Still, the thing is with Neto, we don't even know if he's going to start again. You definitely need to make a goalkeeper transfer though, even for a -4 hit, and it might be best in your situation to go for a Petrovic or Vicario because they double this week and in 37, and you also kind of pay off that -4 hit immediately. So yeah, my ideal scenario would be to sell Areola to Petrovic, but to be honest, I think you sell either one really, and Neto's more expensive as well, so that could play a part. And yeah, you need to make a goalkeeper transfer, so I'd go for Petrovic. 2 damn weeks in a row, flipping FPL has signed me out 1 minute before the deadline, and I'm panicked to remember the password. Yeah, that's why sometimes saving the password is, you know, kind of the easiest thing to do, but maybe not the safest from a security perspective. Yeah, Aïnouri plays as a winger, but I just think Luton Town are going to score. Crystal Palace at home in 37 doesn't look as appealing as it once did as well. Look, Aïnouri is not a bad option, but yeah. Look, so a lot of you are saying Gvardiol, Walker, Diaz. Fair enough. Branthwaite is second. So it's very, very close, by the way. Region is in last in this poll. But yeah, Dallo, Branthwaite, or a Man City defender. Of course, remember, with the Man City defender, it would require selling Edison, because I do have a triple up in Man City already. But less than 5 minutes left. Let's be sure to lock in our wildcard teams and get everything in order. Otherwise, we might regret it. You know what? I know he's not doubling, but I think I'm going to go for Branthwaite. And this could be famous last words, right? I mean, look what he just did. 15 points against Liverpool. He's got great fixtures. He could be very useful in Double Gameweek 37, but watch this guy just still be annoying as hell. You know what? I know it might seem absolutely ridiculous. I know it really does. But I think I'm going to go for Dallo. That's kind of where my head's at the moment. I don't like Man United defensively, but for 37, they got a double game week, and they also have Burnley at home in 35 as well. So I think that's where my preference is at. Dallo and Maguire or Dallo and Branthwaite, that's where my head's at as well, Adil. That's what I'm kind of deciding right now as the clock is ticking. My current preference is Dallo and Maguire, but I can't guarantee that's what I'm going to stick with. Yeah, you could argue that Branthwaite has a better chance of a clean sheet in 37, but the 2 games always boosts Dallo's chances, doesn't it? So, yeah, that's the way I'm going. Maybe I'm getting a bit too bogged down on these double game weeks. Start 2, Gusto, Van Dijk, Saliba and Gabriel. It's tricky. I'd go for an Arsenal defender, either Saliba or Gabriel, and I'd probably go for Gusto. I'm not really feeling it. Should I bring Gordon for a -4? Yes, but it depends who you sell. Gordon, Gabriel, or Johnson and White? Gordon and Gabriel. My mini-league rival is 40 points ahead of me. We both have wildcard and bench boost chips. He's a very template manager. What to do? Well, if he's very template, then it probably is worth just going for differentials. Maybe a Brennan Johnson or a Maddison as your third Spurs asset. You can also go for Højlund instead of Jackson. There's a few things you can do. Or you go to Ollie Watkins. And I think one kind of key thing that could open up all of those possibilities is selling Haaland. That is one thing you could do there as well. But I've already given you some suggestions of what you could do differently. But yeah, the key might be selling Haaland. It really could. Sign my dad out at the same time on a different account. Well, that is not ideal, that's for sure. Havertz or Johnson or Maddison, who's the best option? For this week, I'm going for Maddison. Johnson's in a better form, but... and Havertz is also... Well, no. Let me actually phrase it differently. Havertz is in the best form of the three. Johnson is obviously looking better than Maddison, but I'm going to go for James Maddison. Bench 1, Gabriel, Haaland, Burn or Joao Pedro. I would bench... Gabriel. Do it fast. Yeah, I will. Just going to answer this super chat very quickly. Start Dallo or Van de Ven. Van de Ven, good 5th option. I'd go for Van de Ven simply for the double. I'm not a big fan of Van de Ven, to be honest. I think Borro, Vicario and Romero are my favourite ways of covering the Spurs defence. But yeah, I'd probably go for Van de Ven in your scenario, to be fair. Just a double. And I don't trust United defensively that much. But there we go. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get this done. Yeah, I mean, what am I doing? Who knows? Who knows what I'm doing? It's time to lock in the teams. It really is. You know what? I think I'm just going to go for Dallo. You know what? Yeah, I'm just going to go for Dallo. It's not great, but it's double game week time, and let's have some fun. It does kind of prevent me from going Jackson to Højlund, though. That's one thing that could be a problem later down the line. Or even Garnacho. Let's say a Gordon or Palmer got injured, or maybe Jackson got injured. But there we go. Enough talk. Let's get this show on the road. So Raya and Gvardiol out for Edison and Maguire. Now, in terms of starting, which United player do I even go for? Probably Dallo. I mean, Maguire is in better form. But yeah, I'm going to go for Dallo. I mean... Form is very important, isn't it? You know what? Who even gives a crap? This is the problem with doubling up on defenders like this when you have to pick one or the other. Overall, I'm quite happy with this team. It's just the funds are a bit limiting, in my opinion. I think there could have been room for some improvement. Haaland's on the bench right now. Do I bring him in? I think my gut feeling is to kind of stick with what I have. So Palmer's my captain. Son is my vice. Very template. Petrovic is my starting goalkeeper. And we are locked in. So Burn, Borro, Maguire... Son, Foden, Gordon, Palmer and Bruno Fernandes as the midfield 5. Jackson and Isak up front. Edison, Haaland, Dallo and Gabriel on the bench. I mean, Man United have been poor defensively all season, but they could step up in the final stretch. They've got some good fixtures. Their double in 37 isn't great, but it is what it is. I went for the doublers in the end. I'm not entirely convinced of Everton keeping a clean sheet against Sheffield United at home, despite their good recent form. I think they kind of stepped it up in that relegation battle against Forest, and also to stop Liverpool from winning the title. So, yeah, I think they won't keep as many clean sheets until the end of the season. That's kind of my gut feeling there. I'm sure some of you are probably laughing. Should I bring Foden, Salah? Yes, I've said this all stream, by the way. Bench 1 of Gabriel, Haaland, Burn or Joao Pedro. I think I answered this, but yeah, I would have benched Gabriel. Van Dijk or Van de Ven? I'd start Van de Ven, yeah. For the double and nothing else. I don't see any of those teams keeping a clean sheet. Start Petrovic or Vicario. Petrovic. 8 Nuri or Gvardiol. Gvardiol. Foden, Isak in. Saka, Solanke out. What do you think? No problems with it whatsoever. I like Solanke for this week against Brighton, but Isak is an upgrade. Start Højlund or Isak. Isak. Bench Dubravka or Pickford. I would have benched Pickford. Isak or Haaland. Isak. Haaland or Cunha. This week, Cunha, actually. Don't worry, Kenny. Don't worry. It's all done. It's kind of like the 5th defender option for me was so bad that I was struggling with that final decision. I'm happy with the rest of my team, but going for that second United defender, that's what I didn't like. If I'm being honest, look, if money was no issue, I would have gone for a Nana instead of Petrovic, I think. I also would have gone for a second Arsenal defender potentially, but that could be a blessing in disguise, the fact that I didn't go for that in the end. I think Arsenal's record at Old Trafford, it speaks for itself, isn't great, especially in recent years. So, yeah, it might be a blessing in disguise, my limited budget. Let's see. Start Højlund or Isak, I covered. Haaland or Cunha. Dylan, you're already giving me anxiety, mate. Just do it. Fair enough. I don't know. I just see it as like maybe a bit of a rush. I don't know. It's a bit of fun. But like I said, it's just that fifth defender. It was that poor. My options were so limited that, you know what? It is what it is. If I could have gone for a fourth City player, I probably would have. But no, Salah is benched. Same with Darwin Nunez. It's confirmed by reliable sources there, Durgish. Locked in, boys. Best of luck. Thank you, Punjabi. Likewise to you. Be sure to smash the like button if you haven't already, by the way. Let's get this stream to at least 150 likes. It'd be massively appreciated. And thank you to those that tune in throughout the stream. It was a very early start. I had a bit of a late night, which isn't ideal, but it is what it is. Locked in, says Shavain. Yes, we are. Van de Ven or 8 Nuri? Van de Ven just for the double, really. I think 8 Nuri will concede, so you're relying on attacking potential there. Boom, says Gary. Predictions? Yes, we'll go into that. And maybe my FPL challenge team. So this is how my team was like before. I had Ryan, Gavardio, and I made 2 changes. I bought Edison and Maguire. So, West Ham, Liverpool. Both teams are struggling, but I'm still backing Liverpool for the win here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool. Fulham, Crystal Palace. Very difficult game to predict. Palace have the form. But Fulham, still think at home, I don't see them losing. I'm going to go for a 1-1. Man United, Burnley. Can we rely on United defensively? Why did I go for 2 United defenders? I'm going to go for a 3-1 Man United. Newcastle, Sheffield United. Wow. I think this one, yeah, 3-0 Newcastle. I'm going to go for 3-0 Newcastle. You know what, with Man United, I think I'm going to go for 2-1. I'm going to go for a nervy 2-1. I'm kind of unsure about that one, as you can tell. Wolves versus Luton Town. I'm going to go for 2-1 Wolves. Everton versus Brentford. This is a tricky game to call as well. Everton, 2 massive victories in a row. Brentford as well, actually. Both of them steering clear of relegation. I'm actually going to go for a 2-2 draw here. Aston Villa, Chelsea. I'm going to go for an Aston Villa win. 3-1 Aston Villa. Bournemouth, Brighton. Another difficult game to predict. Very difficult game. Yeah, but Brighton's form is pretty poor as well. I'm going to lean towards Bournemouth, I think. 2-1 Bournemouth. Spurs, Arsenal, the big one. This could kind of make or break the title race. If Spurs get a result, it's pretty much Man City's, and that's it. And then you're kind of hoping for a bit of fun in the top 4 battle or the relegation battle. So, wow. It's very close for me between a draw and a narrow Arsenal win. I'm going to go for an Arsenal win. Maybe a bit of heart over head. 2-1 Arsenal. Nottingham Forest, Man City. I think 2-0 Manchester City. And Chelsea Spurs, we're probably looking at 2-1 Chelsea. I think Chelsea win this game, actually. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, will Spurs lose 3 games in a row and back-to-back London derbies? Maybe not. Maybe not. So that's something I need to think about. I think City Forest, I'm going to change that to 3-1 Man City. And Chelsea Tottenham, I'm going to go for 2-2. So yeah, those are the changes I'm going to make to my predictions. So yeah, let's see how they go. Should be very interesting indeed. Adil says went for Dallo Maguire instead of Dallo and Branthwaite just because Maguire has double and attacking threat from corners. Exactly that. It's exactly that. And Dallo earlier this season showed he has bonus points potential as well. Haaland is on my bench. Same here. It could be a very nervous watch of the Nottingham Forest game. I'm hoping he's benched for our sakes. Thanks, mate. Good luck. Thank you, K-Man Corner. Deadline over. Indeed it is. Lager. Great emoji. Kind of sums it all up. Goal, yeah. Hoping for plenty of goals here. Good luck all, says Zenzone. Thank you. Yep, predictions are done. Let me know what you think as well. You can put yours as well. Van de Ven or Burn? I would have probably gone for Van de Ven for the double, but yeah. I personally prefer Burn as an option in the wild card just for the future double in 37 and the better fixtures for Newcastle. You know what? In this situation, I think I'd just go for Burn, and I've gone for him myself. Good luck, Dylan. I bought in Cucurella and Gordon. Hope it goes well. You think Cunha starts? Yeah, I think he does. And Cucurella and Gordon, hopefully it goes well for you. Second in my mini league. Sorry, I'll go for your question soon, Kenny. It's just the chat kind of bugged out. Second in my mini league and number 1 as wildcard as well. However, he doesn't have bench boost, whereas I do. And the bench boost make up over 40 points. The bench boost typically, look, a good one would be 15 plus points, if we're being honest. So it makes sense in your situation to have gone for a double game week defender instead of Branthwaite, I think. Just more upside. You always want to target the double game weeks. I've got 14 doublers and Gabriel basically. So I think it makes sense what you did. And as for the bench boost, I think it could claw up a lot of the gap, but not all of it. Then it comes down to the captaincy. So if he captained Palmer and you went for Son, that could be a major play as well. Haaland update, please. I can't tell if he's starting or not. I think he will, but that keyword is think. He was in training yesterday, so things are looking good for Erling Haaland. Vicario and Gvardiol or Onana and Walker? I would go... Well, I would have gone for Onana and Walker. Damn, forgot to check Gusto outright. Yeah, so I had Gusto beforehand. He is ruled out of the Aston Villa game. He is a doubt for the Tottenham game as well. He should be back for 37, but he does seem to pick up a lot of injuries, unfortunately. No. I don't think Salah's washed. I mean, let's not forget, back in January, Salah was in outrageous form and he just scored a few goals against Newcastle. I do think sometimes he kind of covers bad performances or average performances with goals and assists, but I don't think Salah's washed per se. Is he past his best? Maybe, but he's still a really good player. Probably the best winger in the Premier League still. Of course, you could be looking at Palmer and Foden and Saka, but let's not forget that Salah still has 15 goals, 9 assists, and he's had some very good performances this season too. Vedant says, I plan to transfer White and Watkins out for Van de Ven and Haaland for 37. Yeah, that's fair enough. I'd make a case for keeping Watkins, actually, but I can see why you're doing. It makes sense. Vedant puts his final team. Thoughts? I really like it. I really do. Van Hick's the only one I look at and think, not a big fan of him, but the rest looks really good. Of course, Jackson, I mean, just we'll share the pain there. But yeah. Thanks for the last game. You told me Mateta and it was insane. I'm not going to lie, look, I like Mateta based on his recent form and stuff like that, but I think a lot of people, and myself, I include myself in this, were a bit fortunate with a few factors in terms of Cunha being injured. Because I really like Cunha. You know, he's had a fantastic season, better than Mateta's in fact, and I backed him for that double over Mateta. But because Cunha was out, it kind of opened the doors there, and everyone on the free hit went for Solanke and Mateta, even those that were making transfers. I kind of made a very late switch from Haaland to Mateta, and it paid off. But unfortunately, I sold Foden, and because I sold Haaland, I actually could have kept Foden and sold Palmer instead. So I am a bit, you know, pissed off with myself about that. But I'm happy to hear that something went well for you. Deadline Buster Dylan says, Carrie, yeah, am I actually going to make good decisions, get good outcomes from it? Let's wait and see. Bridgerton says, I benched Haaland and started the likes of Havertz, Diaz, Solanke. Not going to lie, I would have benched either Havertz or Diaz for Haaland. But it is what it is. Fulham is a stronger team to predict, or strange team to predict, yes. They can beat Spurs 3-0 and then lose to Burnley. They have a good home record though. It's just away from home, you can't trust Fulham whatsoever. I went Gvardiol, Foden and KDB, hoping Haaland doesn't punish me. Well, same here. I've got Haaland, but he's on my bench, so I'm hoping for the same thing. That's covered. Gunners for the title, let's go. Hopefully, but yeah, Man City are the overwhelming favourites. Arsenal have tougher fixtures. If they get the job done though, win the last 4 games, you can't really begrudge Arsenal despite their really poor run in December. What, it'd be 15 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss in 2024? I mean, that's an incredible record, and to not win the league, you just got to say, well, Man City were unbeaten since December, and their run is also ridiculous. Wan-Bissaka brace? Hopefully not. But look, I'd rather that than Haaland getting a brace or scoring. Up the Chelsea, says Jazabi. Yeah, well, look, football comes in cycles, right? Chelsea, one of the best teams in the last 20 years in the Premier League, and now it's a different story. Son tends to do well against the big teams. So unfortunately, he's blanking versus Arsenal, mate. Come on, Arsenal, the third biggest team in England. We all know that. Twister Parkio 6 says West Ham 0, Liverpool 3, Fulham 1-1. Yeah. I went for 2-1 Liverpool. I don't think they'll whitewash West Ham, but they are there for the taking, to be fair. United 2-2. Oh my God. Newcastle 6-0. Yeah, they did beat them 8-0, to be fair, earlier this season. That's a good shout. Wolves 2-1. Brentford 2-1. Villa 4-1. Bournemouth 2-2. Yeah, I was thinking of that as well, by the way, but I went for 2-1 Bournemouth. I hate that Spurs one. I'm not going to even read it. City 3-1. Yeah, some good predictions in there, Twister Parky. Let's see how it all pans out. I'm hoping one of them is wrong, that's for sure. Imagine telling everyone Maguire's in our team 2 years ago. Well, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but he's had a bit of a renaissance this season. A little bit, I say. He even won Player of the Month, although you could argue that was a bit, overblown. But he's in good goal-scoring form. He's a cheap defender. He's got a double game week in 37. Decent fixtures. Well, I just forgot to hit the wildcard button. Fantastic beginning to this game week. Damn. I'm not going to lie, that just actually made me check if I activated it myself. Yeah, look, whenever I make transfers in the first place, I just play the wildcard button from the beginning. So I do feel for you there. You're not the first. Many people in live chats or comment sections have said that's happened to them as well. Bought Højlund instead of Jackson. Wrong transfer? Not necessarily. Jackson isn't reliable at all. Will you bring in Saka at some point? Game week 38 I could do. Maybe selling Bruno Fernandes to Saka could be the play. Lost so many points as HD. Yeah, I don't really want to imagine how much you lost, but yeah, hopefully you can recover at least some of it. Thank God Klopp benched Darwin and Salah. Gakpo and Elliott deserve starts over them based on current form. Yeah, but you could argue it's a little too late, basically. I'm a bit surprised. Look, I did say a few weeks ago I thought Liverpool couldn't keep up. Kind of, how do I say this? Because Liverpool have been good this season. They are a good team, but I do think there has been an element of overperformance. When you constantly go behind in games, it's very difficult to make that sustainable and go on to win the title. Yonki says skip Nicholas Jackson to hold on to Watkins on wildcard. Great for you. Also went Raya to Anana last second for bench boost 37. Also don't know if I went through. I think it did go through Fionki. And I don't mind that Watkins move whatsoever. UCL, which differential to own in semi-finals from Dortmund and Real Madrid? Have 8 players, only 2 Bayern, 3 PSG, 2 Real. I'll cover this in the videos and obviously in the deadline stream. And look, I have to say this. When I was making the best wildcard and limitless teams, the limitless is quite useless at this stage now. With so many big teams knocked out like Man City and Arsenal, it's so easy to build the best team possible or the most expensive team and still have money in the bank. So yeah, I think for those that have the limitless, it's not looking great. From Dortmund, I'd say Sabitzer and Brandt will be the best differentials. And from Real Madrid, Valverde would be one. And Lunin in goal is, I've been talking about him for so many months now, actually. I had him back in the group stages, I believe. If not, I certainly had him from the knockouts in February. He's been fantastic. So yeah, from Real Madrid, Valverde and Lunin. Also, Rodrigo is a great differential up front. And from Dortmund, Sabitzer and Brandt. I think Salah's problem is just not all about himself. It's the team spirit having problems now. Yeah, the front three in general is nowhere near as good as Mane and Firmino. And the team itself is a lot more vulnerable, especially defensively. I don't have Foden and I'm terrified. Yeah, look. As soon as I made that transfer in the last deadline stream where I sold Foden and not Palmer, I realised, wait, I actually could have kept Foden. And as soon as I had that realization a few seconds after confirming, yeah, it kind of dawned on me that it wasn't going to go well. Done now, but Gordon or Richarlison? Gordon for me. I hope Haaland doesn't start, benched him, and more of a chance of Starboy Palmer getting the golden boot. Yeah, of course, there's a lot of different narratives and plus points to Haaland being benched. I start Onana, crying, over Petrovic. Thoughts? Look, Man United I have 2 Man United defenders, by the way, but it's not by choice. It's kind of, I was forced into it. I would have gone for Petrovic simply for the double. I think Burnley could score. My prediction, in fact, is 2-1 Man United. But look, either way, I don't see a massive swing. Famous last words. Bryce, Will Smith in a Barca kit, says Twisted Parky. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen it. Double Gameweek is a trap. Yeah, well, we heard that last week, right? Double Gameweeks were so poor up until 34, and then it became amazing again. I'm starting Mateta next game week. This one too, if Haaland is out. I hope he keeps up his form. Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fair enough. Mateta is still a great option, and someone I actually considered on the wildcard still. Werner over Jackson, not for me. You could argue they're, two brothers from another mother, but yeah, no, I prefer Jackson, dare I say. Never doubt GOAT Nico Jackson. He shaved his head and will come back bracing just like CR7. Well, if it's against Tottenham, I don't mind, but yeah, I mean, calling him a GOAT, we're going to be calling anyone a GOAT nowadays. Roman Jarvis says, Donna -8 this week. Bradley, Salah, Nunez all out. Cher, Bruno Fernandes and Jackson in. Good luck this week, Dylan. Likewise, Roman. Good transfers. I mean, not even Salah can really punish you per se, because he's going to be on the bench. I'm telling you, Dylan, if Arsenal win the North London derby, they're winning the league. Mark my comment. Well, it's the toughest fixture left, in my opinion, but there's still Man United away, which is a not happy hunting ground for Arsenal in recent years. But look, with Man City, I think they dropped points in one game, but you could also say the same thing about Arsenal, which makes things very difficult. Feremi says, my Gameweek 35 team. Yeah, looks good. But only bench boost left. What would you do? Yeah, Neto is a problem, I think. The fact he was benched in the second game of Gameweek 34. Yeah, I think your goalkeepers need a bit of improvement there. So you could keep Flecken. I don't expect a clean sheet against Bournemouth away, but I'd probably look to upgrade Neto. Yeah, I'd also be looking at one of Region or Senesi to upgrade as well. Doubling up on Bournemouth and Brentford defensively just isn't ideal. But I can understand why you've done it recently. Yeah, I'd focus on that, your defence and your goalkeeper, and swerve away from those double ups in Bournemouth and Brentford. Do you think Haaland will score this game week? Yes, I think he will. Just I kind of expect that when I bench a player of that quality. Forget Maguire. Imagine telling people Cole Palmer's in our teams 2 years ago. Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's a youngster. I remember a Man City fan I know, he kept saying that Cole Palmer has a lot of potential. And when I'd see a cup game from time to time, Palmer would be quite impressive, but no one expected this breakout season. I remember my brother donking off on Wildcard 2 years ago, blowing his mini league. Yeah, look, you can get the Wildcard wrong. I'm hoping it isn't the case for those of us that went for this kind of setup. That's what's happening to me right now. I was leading my mini league, but by 10 points. Yeah, look, 10-point lead isn't really anything in FPL. Funny, everyone only realised Darwin is Jackson standard while I've been saying this since he plays for Benfica. I went for Gonzalo Ramos over Darwin that time. To be honest though, Gonzalo Ramos isn't that great himself, is he? Darwin does offer more than goals, and he's got a good record this season in terms of GA, but he's just a poor finisher, very wasteful. You can't rely on him in a title race, that's for sure. It was awful for him, as it would have been the first time he would have finished above me in around a decade, says Tremor Kid. Well, it's not over yet, right? If you're talking about this season. Oh, you said 2 years ago. Yeah. Well, who knows? There's always a possibility. Double Gameweek 34 trapped me into 149 points, and I captained that gumboot Salah. Yeah. Salah was a big disappointment, man, because, who knows what could have been if we captained the likes of Mateta. Maybe 200 points, like we saw from certain people, taking a -52 hit. Not sure if that counts. Twister Parky says, Mane and Firmino supported Salah better. All on Salah now. Jota's the second best attacker. Diaz just not Mane. Yeah. Diaz is a great dribbler, but he's not a great creator or goal scorer. Yeah, I agree. Jota's the second best attacker, but he's made of glass, so they can't rely on him either. And Gakpo's found a bit of form now, but on the left wing. Woke up too late and couldn't take out Salah. Thought the deadline was 11:30. Yeah, I'm trying to think when was the last time a deadline was at 11:30 UK time. I can't really remember, to be honest. Yeah, it typically is 1:30 PM or it's 11 AM when it's a Saturday. Welcome, Thailand's chief asset. Hello from Thailand. Thank you very much for watching. It's always a pleasure. How do you see an attack that consists of Nicholas Jackson, Darwin Nunez, Timo Werner? Many missed opportunities, a lot of frustration, and lack of hair. Don't you think double Arsenal defence on wildcard is playing it too safe with only one fixture? Well, it's just Arsenal have the best defence in the league. They might not keep clean sheets because of their fixtures. They're really tough. But they went to the Etihad and managed to keep them quiet. So I don't think it's a bad play, but maybe it's a bit too template, too conservative. I probably would have done it because would I rather double up on Arsenal defensively or Man United? I'm going to go for Arsenal, but maybe the doubles will swing it in United's favour and also all these other teams like Spurs and Chelsea, etc. But yeah, I think with Man United away on a bench boost, it's not great. Get my black suit out on the 20th of May, says Twisted Parky. Oh no. Which keeper are you planning to have in FPL Challenge? I've gone for Petrovic. Remember that players in London Derby score double the number of points, so I've gone for Petrovic. You can even go for Vicario if you wish. I still have the free hit and bench boost. When do I use them? And good luck, y'all. Yeah, I would use the bench boost in 37. And I'd free hit in 38. That's what I'd do. What's a Euro Fantasy initial draft too early? Well, the game hasn't been released yet, so it's way too early still. I'll let you know, by the way, if I can make content for that, but that would be the plan. I fancy Portugal, Belgium as the underdogs in Euros. Yeah, I mean, Portugal were in great form. They had that shock defeat, I think, to Slovenia, but they rotated quite a lot. Euros is always quite difficult to predict. There's not really a standout team that wins it more often than not, so yeah. Gakpo just not a wide player. The thing is, though, he's actually better, in my opinion, as a left winger than as a striker. I hate 3:30 PM deadline here in India. Yeah, I think we all have our preferences, right? But as long as you can wake up for the deadline, that's the main thing. If Mane was through against City instead of Diaz, we would have won that game. Potentially. I mean, Mane had some pretty poor sitters, you know, missed sitters with him, you know, as well. I think he actually missed one against Man City once. If not, it was against Everton. I can't remember exactly which game. There was one I remember, which was an awful miss. Maybe even worse than Diaz's, but I see your point. I went for Captain Isak. Good luck. Yeah, I agree, I do. I think Gakpo's best position is left wing. Even though he doesn't have much pace, he's got a bit of... I don't know, he's got something about him on that left wing. Still am absolutely puzzled. I wildcarded in 28, and I wildcard again in 34. I don't know how the hell this has happened. 2 wildcards in the second part of the season. Any ideas? Nah. You can't have 2 wildcards. There's no way that happened, Pajabi. Maybe for one of them, you thought you activated the wildcard and you took a lot of hits. Honestly, there's no way. You have one wildcard for the first 20 game weeks of the season, and then the second wildcard from game week 20 and beyond. Actually, I think Werner is overhated. He's a good player other than finishing. I think he's all right. I don't know. Like, as a finisher, we all know it's pretty poor. But in his first season at Chelsea, he did deliver. He had good goals and assists, helped Chelsea win the Champions League. Black suit because FPL over. I'm probably going to have maybe not a pink shirt, but I have a shirt to celebrate. Those unjust lost points for Liverpool versus Spurs are needed now. It's a bit too late for that, you know. Yeah, they were never going to kind of redo the game. Regardless, it's the biggest robbery of the season. But I still think with those points, Liverpool don't win the league, in my personal opinion. Is Son a must captain for FPL Challenge? Well, yeah, 2 London derbies, right? Yeah, I think well, I don't know why Son a German there. Yeah, I think Son's probably the one to captain there. That's probably what I'd go for. So that's pretty much it. We've been streaming for what? I don't even want to say the time. 2 hours and a half pretty much. So thank you to those that have tuned in. It's been a fun one. Hopefully the wildcard goes well. And I have the bench boost in place for Game Week 37. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's get this video to over 200 likes and let's keep on pushing towards 25,000 subscribers and beyond. Be sure to check out the other links like my Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and all the other ones like Drafthound, the Discord server, FPL League, FPL Challenge, the Spotify and Amazon Music as well. Leave a 5-star review on those podcasts. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Remy. Good luck. Take care, bro. We'll see you in today's matches. Likewise, let's look at Challenge Team, Dylan. I did show it earlier. I'll go for it very briefly. If only the PGML incident versus Spurs didn't happen, the Odegaard basketball, Doku, Verratti or McAllister. Yeah, but you can say that for every team, right? I mean, I think Man City have been the most benefited of all the title challenges, but Liverpool have had decisions as well, like the Alisson disallowed goal. When I say Alisson disallowed goal, when Man City played Liverpool at the Etihad and City's goal was disallowed, you know, you can always say this. And I think in some of the previous seasons, Liverpool had a lot of decisions in their favour too. What is your thinking, Sister Parky? I'll show it very briefly to wrap things up. This is what I've gone for. Petrovic and Dubravka as my goalkeepers. I think, yeah, Son's my captain. Palmer's the vice. I might even go for Vicario instead of Dubravka or Petrovic simply because of the 2 London derbies. So I think Spurs assets would be very appealing in FPL Challenge. I have gone for Madison here, as you can see. But yeah, there could be a few more changes here as well. I've gone for White and Gabriel. I think I'll probably change that. Maybe even go for another Spurs defender like Romero. So yeah, this is definitely subject to changes. Let me know what you think as well. But I did quite well last week despite captaining Salah, and that's because I forgot to change the captaincy. I would have done it to Eze actually, but it is what it is. And there we go. That is pretty much it. So thank you to those that have tuned in today. It's been a pleasure. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and also on Twitter, Instagram, the Discord server, and all of that. I wish you all the best of luck for Double Gameweek 35 and the rest of the season, and I'll see you next time.